Hello, how's it going? Hello, everybody. It's Saturday, or Saturday, as Steph would say. Steph, that sucks that you've been up since 5 for no reason, especially on a Saturday. Did I get good sleep? No, I did not. I went to my brother's yesterday after watching shows, after watching Roswell with all y'all. And actually, I took a nap after that, and then I went to my brother's at like 5 ish something, about 5. And then I got home around, I don't know, let's say 8. And then I had to wake up at 2. So that gave me 8, 9, 10, 12, 1, 2. So that gave me like maybe 6 hours of sleep. I don't think I slept for 6 hours though. So no, and then I had to go to work. So I didn't get much sleep before work. I did come home though and take a nap. So I maybe slept 5.5 hours before work. And then, yeah. Actually, I think I actually went to bed about 9 because I got home about 8. And I still had to eat. So I was up late, but that's fine. I took a nap before stream, so I feel okay. Still kind of groggy from waking up and taking a long nap. But yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Also, I'm going to mute my mic for a second as I move it away from my face because I kicked my desk earlier and now my mic's way too close to me. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, you're back. Hello, Sal. Oh yeah. So Sal and Steph and I guess anyone. It's possible. I don't know what those random 5 follows were. They all basically happened at the same time. So either they were like bots following preemptively so that they can spam and they can get past any like follow timers people have, or somebody gave me a shout out. I'm not sure which, but either way, it's possible that bots will spam. So if that happens, I guess I don't know. We have like that. What's it called? Shield mode or emote only chat or something. So that's possible that might have to go up, which I can do it, but I don't really know how the shield mode works. But I think emote only chat is not bad temporarily while we ban people who spammed. But I don't know. It's the whole thing can be annoying. It's only happened once. Hey, Finju. Oh, you did follow. Okay, wait. You're a person. You followed. You followed 10 minutes ago. Hello. You're not a bot. I wasn't sure. I got... Okay, I have to ask, and I don't mean to, like... You don't have to answer. Where did you come from? Did somebody shout me out? And like, or did you come in with the other 5 follows? Technically, you were a minute after everyone else. You were technically a minute after the first 4. The first 4 came instantly, and then you were a minute later. So maybe you weren't part of the others. But did you come from a shout out? Did someone like send you here? Or I'm just curious. 1/5, not a bot. Good. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. And yeah, happy Saturday. I'm going to try to do some art here in a moment. Hopefully something that, yeah, we'll see. A person recommended you. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's very kind of them. Whoever that person was, thank you. Okay. I feel like that was one of the 2 options, but I just didn't know. And I was actually curious, so I ended up snooping both Chakiri and Sourpuss, who I thought maybe they were the ones, but it didn't look like they had said anything, because you can, now Twitch will show you, like, a backlog of chat a little bit. So I was trying to investigate, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'm kind of curious who it was. But I appreciate that person, whoever they might have been. And, yeah, I'm going to do some art. Okay. Forgive me while I try and wake up. This was a thumbnail we did last stream. Just a little environment thing. It looked like some sort of city of some sort with dragons or something. I thought it was kind of cool, so I decided to bring it back. And I'll add it to the pile for today that we'll vote on. Oh yes, people feel free to share art. Looks like Hogsmeade in the right. Hogsmeade. Wait, what is Hogsmeade? I don't know what that is. Do I have to Google this? Okay, anyway, I'm gonna just jump right in and paint and start some colors and interesting stuff. I'm going to try to do a little bit of, like, graphical things. A village near Hogwarts. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I've never heard... Wait. I never read the books. Is this from the books? Or is this in the movies that I missed? I didn't know Hogsmeade was a village. I feel like I should have known this. You saw the movie? I know, I don't remember. What is Hogsmeade? Where... Wait. When did they go to Hogsmeade? I'm bad with names. Yes, sir. Okay. I'll take your word for it. Alrighty, I guess, yeah. I'm gonna pretend you know what you're talking about. Remember when Harry snuck in with his cloak? With the... Hold up. So that was... It's the bar. Wait, he snuck in with his cloak. He went to... Honey beer, bruh. How do I not know what this is? I know he snuck in to be all nosy and get butterbeer, the drink that you could get at Hogsmeade. What? How do I have a hole in my memory? Am I going, like, senile? The only time I remember... Okay, so Harry used his cloak... I know he used it in the halls of Hogwarts. He used it to sneak into the bank or whatever with the goblins, right? What else did he not use it then? Maybe he didn't. No, I think he did. When else did he use it? He used it in winter? Wait, I remember, okay, I remember the wintry one with, like, the footprints. But I don't remember him going to... How do I not... I remember, like, all the other times. I remember, like, the footprints in the snow, and Hogsmeade also has Zonko's joke shop where the kids got all sorts of weird stuff. The Weasley twins opened a shop there, too. How am I, like... I feel like I just have a hole in my memory. Okay, I'm just gonna pretend it's because I just woke up. That's gonna be my excuse. Alright. Well, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretend that is the thing that I remember and just go with it. Hogsmeade was introduced in movie 3, I think. Okay. Well, maybe I need to rewatch movie 3. Okay, so I want to do some sort of... I want to block in some values, but I don't want just a flat plane. This is... Gosh, I keep doing it, but I keep making the same flat environment. I want more interesting compositions, so I'm just going to play with some shapes here. Some very light in the background. I can always adjust them. Very dark somewhere else. Maybe just some simple shapes. Thumbnail from a previous stream. Ooh. 3 from last time. Was that this one? Did I already bring it back? I don't remember which one was 3 from last time, but let me take a look. Nope, not that. File, open. Number 3 from last time. Wait, why is it doing that? File, open. Oh, number 3. Okay, number 3. So this one, we're bringing this one back. Hey, thank you for the follow. Pedro, how are you? Okay, so number 3. Or wait, no, that one's... Oh, okay, I see. I'm behind or something. So this one's number 3. Okay, so we're bringing back both number 3 and 6. There we go. That's good. I like both of those. I think we're going to try and do some foresty stuff today. But I do want to just take a moment and do some, like, I guess black and white, essentially black and white sketches. And I could, yeah, I think I'll do it like this. What's the best way? I'm actually going to, I know Kath is going to come in here and be like, slide the show. But I'm going to turn my screen black and white so you guys can see it, and so that I can see it, so that I can do this stuff. Because even though I'm painting in colors, I want to have it so that I'm thinking in black and white, and I want to just map out some values and stuff first. But Crunchy, how are you? You were killing it last time. If I could bring back all the same notes. No. You are very kind to Crunchy. It's funny, I didn't really feel like I was doing very well last time, but maybe the break did something. I don't know. Majar, thank you. Hello. Clapping hands. How are you, Majar? Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. If I hadn't said hello properly since I came back from vacation, then hello. It's good to be back, and I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope everyone's week went well, because now it's the weekend. It's Saturday, I think. I had work today. Oh, okay, I mentioned this before, and then I got called out for it. So I mentioned this in Sourpuss's stream. I feel like I should shout her out, because she's live right now, and it's weird to talk about people who aren't here, who are actually streaming, and I'm only saying good things, so yeah, you should totally check out Sourpuss if anyone wants to shout her out. But anyway, I was in Sourpuss's stream this was like a couple months ago, and while I was setting up for stream, I was like browsing Reddit, and I basically joked that I'm preparing rant topics by browsing that particular subreddit. And then Sour was like, oh, you don't need to prepare rants. Like, don't those come naturally? And the answer is yes, they do. But some things make them come even more naturally, like browsing that Reddit. So I actually was doing that again today. So I kind of have like a topic that I feel like maybe I've talked about before, but there was like a fresh new post on that subreddit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to rant about this. And I am going to rant about it today. Maybe not right now, but the topic is, how do you get out of your own head enough to succeed? That was like that was the title of the post. And yeah, I feel like that is a rant topic for me. So I'll probably rant in a little bit about that. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. Hi. I'm completely exhausted, says Crunchy. Oh no, spent 2 days making carnival costume with Little Fox. That's exciting. And then she came again today, where my dad also stopped by. Haven't seen him since summer, so yeah. I don't know enough about your family to know if that your dad stopping by is a good thing, but I hope everything went well, and I hope you had fun making carnival costume. That sounds actually really fun. And exhausting, but extremely fun. I cannot see emote. I am on mobile. I am sorry. Oh, no worries. I am ready for that rant command, Joe. All right. Well, I'm ready to rant in a little bit, but I do want to just kind of, I don't know. I've already done 2 thumbnails. And by having done 2, I did them last time. But I feel like I'm already ahead of the pace, so I can just kind of slow down and chat. Hey, Kath, I already called out you for saying that you're going to say slide the show. The reason I didn't have the slideshow on is because I'm going to be painting in black and white for a bit. But I turned it off momentarily. So I want to paint black and white, and I can't really do that when the slide shows up because it's a different scene. So this scene is just my whole screen, and which allows me to show menus and all this stuff. Whereas if I have it on the slideshow on, you can't see menus. So that's actually, I actually knew you were going to show up and say that. But anyway, how are you, Kath? Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone, also, if anyone is new or isn't new and wants to share some art or is doing some art, you should let me know. I'm curious who's doing some arting along. But yeah, how are you? Hope everyone is well. I'm still kind of warming up. Oh, did you hear that? That was my wrist cracking. Ooh. All right. Popping the wrists. Not ideal. Okay. Hello, Ethodynamic. How are you? Cass says, I'm doing good. Not a productive day today, but there's always tomorrow. That's a good attitude. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm procrastinating with art lately. Do it tomorrow. I like the. I'm not. I'm not advocating for procrastination, but y'all are some hardcore procrastinators that I can get on board with that. Yeah, I popped my wrist. I like cracking your knuckles, but my wrist. I don't know. That wasn't great. Um, Bad grammar, good stories. Hello. Looks like you are up to some good art. Well, thank you. I actually haven't done this art today, or these two I did not do today. I've only done number one today, which is extremely simple, but I am hoping to keep these very simple today. These are not, the shapes aren't, well, the shape in this one's pretty clear, like we have the main shape and stuff, but this one is not super clear, and while I do like this, it has, I think it's not, I don't know, I'm not sure how I want to approach this, and if I end up working on it. I like the colors, but I kind of think that the composition could be more simple. And so today I want to focus on simpler compositions, but maybe something a little bit different, rather than just like a eye line somewhere down here and then a flat, flat planes leading into the distance, kind of like all of those. I do want to do something a bit more, I don't know, interesting, I guess, with the ground plane. So we might do some like paintings from the sky looking down through like trees. We've done stuff like that before, or maybe that we're in underwater scenes. I don't know, that kind of thing. Would you like to do a co-stream sometime? I don't know. So I've done a few co-streams in the past, and I really enjoy the people who I did the co-streams with, and I really enjoyed their streams, but I will say I'm not sure if I like co-streams. I think I would have to be really careful going forward with how I do that, because one, I have a hard time managing, like, actually interacting with my chat while also talking to the person and not stepping over them. Like if somebody comes into my chat and says something, I don't want to interrupt you or whoever so that I can answer chat. And at the same time, I don't want the other person to be streaming and also feel like they need to interrupt me to greet their, like, I don't want to neglect for example, if I was streaming with you or somebody else specifically, let's say Steph, I don't want to make them feel like they have to talk over to me to tend to their chat, or that I have to walk over them to tend to my chat. And that's a really hard thing to do when you're both streaming. There are probably ways to do it, but I haven't found a way in which we're both streaming that I like. I think if I wanted, maybe, I could be a guest host, I guess you could call it, on a stream, or somebody could come to my stream potentially and be on when they're not streaming. But I think I would want the focus to still be able to be on chat, to be able to be on the community, or whatever conversation we're having. So I'm kind of particular about how I would do like a duo stream in the future. I know it's possible to have a lot of people in a voice chat while talking, but I just don't like I don't like the production quality of it, if you want to call it that. Like, I feel like it's neglecting the very reason that I stream, which is to engage with people. And I think just having a panel of people chatting amongst themselves does not feel as inclusive, especially if they're all streaming. There's too many. I mean, so I guess I'll use an analogy. There's a podcast I listen to, or kind of. It's called No Stupid Questions. But one of the hosts, his name I believe is Stephen Dubner, they used to have a podcast called, like, I don't know, Tell Me Something I Don't Know, I think is the name of the podcast. It's no longer a thing, but it used to be a live show where they have people, like, interesting people come up on stage and say things, and then they might even pick from the audience. I'd forget how it worked. And then they would vote on like who told them the most interesting true thing. And then they would have a fact checker and do the whole thing. And it was like a whole live show, but it was meant to also be in podcast format. And the reason they canceled it was because they found that trying to also do a live show and have it good for audio is just two conflicting things. And if you want either of them to be the best they can be, you need to cut the other. So either make it a podcast and ditch the live audience, or do the live audience and ditch the podcasting, because it's just neither are going to be as good as if you would have just focused on one. And that's kind of how I feel with having other people on stream. It's possible to have somebody on stream and have it work really, really well, but I think you have to go in with their intent being you're going to make the stream better. Like, having a discussion ahead of time, also having someone who streams so that they can interact with chat as well, things like that. And also, I'm not that great at interacting with chat, don't get me wrong. I obviously have a lot I can improve on, but yeah. So I just feel like there's strings tugging in a few different directions with that. So I want to be careful, but it's possible. Yeah, it's possible, but I'd have to really consider it, and yeah, I kind of have like a small mental checklist of things criteria that would need to be met. Otherwise, I just don't feel like it typically is good. There's been a lot of situations where I go into someone else's stream and they have multiple people chatting, and it just doesn't feel as welcoming or as fun. Sometimes it is, though. There have been times where you go in and you're like, wow, this is really exciting to hear two people chat about something. Hey, Skittle, hello. How are you? Hope your day is going well. My day is going well. I'm already ranty today. I watch and lurk while drawing. Happy drawing, Steph. Steph, what are you drawing? You're gonna have to share at some point, you realize. The carnival costume, blackened out eyes, so as to not to reveal her face. Ooh, let's take a look. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. I love it. That is so cool. That is fun. That is super cool. I love it. Yeah, I agree. I had the same issue when I streamed it years ago. A bunch of friends in my voice chat, and it was a bit chaotic. Yeah, it is. It is, and I feel like in theory you could set it up. Like, for example, I've kind of told myself one of my criteria is basically the person either needs to be someone who is a streamer also, and they really know, like, and I like the way they conduct their stream and that they know their stuff. And then the other criteria is that we aren't both streaming at the same time, right? So not only do you have another streamer on air with you, or you're on their stream, like, I would be okay with going on someone else's stream as well, but not when I'm streaming, right? Or I'm okay with someone else coming on my stream, but not when they're streaming. They also would need to be a streamer, or somebody who has something to say about a specific topic that we can stay kind of focused on, right? I think a good example of that would be, having an entire stream where we rant about like AI or something. And if there's somebody who knew a lot about AI, right, and they could come in and interact with the community, ask questions, and we could just talk, maybe do something art relating to, whatever. Like, that would be something that, maybe not that topic specifically. I'm not sure I wouldn't want to do that because I don't really care that much about AI or that I mean, it's not really my conversation to have, and I'm not even sure. Anyway, I don't know if that was a good example, but something like that could potentially work. I'm not typically a huge fan of like Magma Studio, other people watching a bunch of people who aren't them drawing. And when you open up the community, then people can start drawing other things. That can be sketchy. I do think the game streams, like art game streams, can be fun if you have a bunch of people chatting. But again, they kind of need to not all be doing their own stream, or else I feel like it's a little bit neglecting of chat. Glad you like it, Joe. She is very much looking forward to wearing it to school. Yeah, that's a very cool costume. I have it where 6 people can be online and views can watch the artwork in progress. Switch between. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't. Maybe you have a different experience, but my experience is that people aren't typically here for the artwork as much as that might sound counterintuitive to an art stream. And I think having a bunch of cool art on stream and having people able to switch between it is a nice option. But to me, if the quality of attentiveness or conversation or just you're not feeling like the audience is like part of the conversation, or if they feel like they can't ask questions and actually get a response or something, I don't feel like that's a stream that I want to have. Maybe some people like that. I mean, there are streamers who literally never engage with chat. And I'm not saying that you are that, but everyone has a different vibe of stream, and I think I don't want to go against sort of my I don't know, this might be silly, but like streaming morals. Like, I guess in my mind, I have a few things that I like about streaming, and I don't want to go against that. I want to lean into it, if anything. And there are certain things that I don't know. It's a hard thing for me to sell myself on. It's a very, very case by case basis. There are probably a few people that I could think of. I'm not even gonna say names that I would be open to doing a co-stream with right now, but we'd have to have like a topic or an activity or a common idea or something that we're both doing so that we have some like we can stay on topic, right? If it's just like a free flowing format stream where everybody's doing their own thing, I don't feel like the conversation is ever any good, right? It's just maybe, I mean, again, maybe it's because I'm not good at conversation and I can't be entertaining just by chatting with groups of friends for 3 hours. Like maybe I just can't do that, and some people can. Like I think sometimes like you can get a panel of like comics, for example, not comic artists, but just comedians, and they can be hilarious just by talking about anything for a long time. I can't do that. I need to have a topic. I need to stay on anyway. So yeah, that's, I guess what I'm saying is probably not going to happen, but it's possible. And if there was a specific proposal, then I guess send it my way and I'll think about it. But yeah, in all likelihood, it probably isn't going to happen anytime soon. And if it does, like I say, it's going to be with like certain artists. And I feel like we both all, and another thing, this might be a bit greedy, and maybe I'm a bad person for even saying this, but I also feel like those types of streams have to actually benefit both parties, right? If you are somebody, if I'm going to be on your stream, it needs to be worth my while, which it probably would be, and it's going to need to be worth your while, right? Which, again, it might be, and it probably would be if it's just me on your stream or you on my stream. But I think when it's, and I guess the other part is that when it's two people are trying to stream, I genuinely think it either benefits one person, not the other, or hurts both. Very rarely do I feel like it actually benefits both people. But again, there are exceptions, and I'm not closed to those ideas. Narcs, GN Arcs, or probably Narcs. How are you? Anyway, talked a lot about the topic. I'm going to turn my screen to black and white so that I can just focus on values here for a moment. But yeah, I'm not like an amazing streamer by any means, and I do think there are things that I could improve on, and I am always open to ideas on how to run things, how to change, how to improve. But I also feel like I have done things in the past that I kind of feel like, oof, that was a mistake, and I don't want to do that again. And I guess co-streaming is one of those. I've done yeah. But they're not bad. Like, I actually thought about it, just like as a hypothetical, like, let's say me and Skittle did a co-stream. I don't know if it would really I mean, maybe it would benefit us, But like, again, I don't think we could, if we were both streaming, would we actually make the streams any better? Like, I don't know. I'm not convinced we would. Maybe if we had an interesting topic to talk about. But I think if I, if he was on my stream or if I was on his stream, I think that we could probably pull it off if we had a conversation to talk about. But again, we would both have to be very careful not to neglect, let's say, his chat if I'm on his stream. Because if I got swept up in the conversation and ignored chat or talked over him while can't reply to chat, suddenly the stream is worse, right? It doesn't take much for me to ruin that. And vice versa. Dude, I don't know, man. How are you? That's my thought on your name is my thought on this whole topic. I don't know, man. It feels like hot water. I know some people really like it, but anyway, I am trying to make an interesting composition here. Just trying to make some interesting shapes, do something a little bit maybe unusual. I actually saw a really fascinating art piece by somebody. And also, yes, I realize my screen is grayscale. I'm just trying to sketch out some compositions here. Just trying to, just find some interesting shapes. Doing good, liking the thumbnails. Oh, thank you. Maybe there's like a path of sun in here. I'm trying to make the shapes interesting. Maybe like this. Or maybe not. I don't know, actually. I feel like this should not be. No, what if we did like a path that goes up here? What I missed? Talking about ignoring chat, Joe. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I definitely do. Shall repeat then. Would love to see you and Skittle swap thumbnails to finish, not gonna lie. That would be fun. Swapping thumb. Yeah, I think there could be something there because me and Skittle are similar size streams and we have a similar audience. And I do think and I actually like that I will, let me backpedal a bit. But I'm not talking here about having be on each other's streams, but I do think collaborations of sorts are really good. And I think Sourpuss is somebody who does this really well. She does a lot of, she's done things with Shakiri, she's done things with Patsy Peach, she's done things with Charlie Lowe, I think. Like, and sometimes I've done like these Inktober type things where they all contribute a prompt and, like, what is it called? Not Inktober, it's called Stream Ink. And I think Skittle did this too, where they all come up with a prompt and each day they do somebody else's prompt. I like things like that where you swap ideas or you do things like that, but then you just do your own stream, and if anybody asks what you're doing, then you can be like, oh, I'm doing something, I'm doing a draw this in your style of this person's, or I'm doing a we've swapped thumbnails and now we're finishing. I actually do like those ideas because they more or less are your same stream, but you're just doing a little thing with the other person and they're doing that thing with you. But again, I'm still like, I think it makes it fun and a little bit more engaging because then at least people are like, oh, I'm curious what's happening because I don't really know because this is a little unusual. But I don't think it does much, right? I just think it's a fun thing for the streamer. I don't know if it's really any more fun for the audience. It might be. I think in the case of like me and Skittle, because we have such an overlapping community here, I do think it probably would be perfectly fine. And I think I would be up for that at some point. But obviously Skittle have to agree with it. But yeah, I don't know. I think... Though that kind of collaboration, I think, is the exception to the rule for me. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is make... I don't know how to do this, but I'm trying to make like a... I can ask for you, pitch the idea to him as well. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you could run it by him, and I don't. He might even be here. He might be like face palming right now, like, oh my gosh, this is a terrible idea. But yeah, I mean, you could run it by him in his stream, or I could or something. I mean, I'm not like super gun ho about it. I'm kind of indifferent about it at the moment. Typically, that's how I am when I hear about things or talk about things on stream, because I'm not actually making decisions for future streams on stream. I do that off stream. So I can hypothetically talk about, mind in the sky kind of ideas, like just sort of fantasies of like, oh, it would be fun to do this. I can talk about those on stream, but those aren't actual plans. I don't typically like to make real plans on stream or have to think things through on stream. But it is an interesting idea, and I think I would be up for it. But again, we'd have to talk about it because I'm not gonna make those plans on stream, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think that kind of idea would be fun. And again, not just with Skittle, with other people too. I'd be up for other things. But again, it needs to be something that isn't so different than what we normally do that it's like breaking the mold for stream. I mean, it's fine to break the mold, don't get me wrong. But my stream is not one where I break the mold very often. I really do a lot of the same stuff. Jaunty Jax, good evening. How are you? And also, dude, I don't know, man. Thank you, by the way. I'm glad you like the thumbnails. I am trying to figure out... I mean, I'm kind of going slow here, but that's okay. Just trying to make some interesting shapes, and... I think this one will work. I don't know. Let's actually I have an idea. Let's take this. And just add a little foreground. Something like that. And then we'll just copy it and move on to the next one. Simple composition. Oh, that's not good. Merge these. Okay, so what I want to do here, I'm going to again make my screen black and white. I'm going to take some of these and just start filling in where the dark spaces are, fill in where the white spaces are. Try to come up with some different ideas. Maybe not totally different ideas, but just, just different compositions. I do want to do something with like a village or a town, maybe something where I can imply some architecture. So this is kind of a certain scale to it that I'm actually not a huge fan of, and I might change it up. Actually, let's change it up right now. Let's change it up by making some shapes. I'm just going to make some squares. That'll work. And then I'm going to select the inverse and just carve out those things. Just so this could be like a town or something behind here. Maybe there's like there could be a path. Let's see, where would the path want to go to? We could have it come this way, right? Which is a thing I do a lot, but what if we went like that or something and like had a hill here? So like a break here, a hill, path comes this way, and then this, maybe not. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Thank you for the follow, Sakura Scopes. How are you, Sakura Scoops? The middle one is really good. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so that one, and Nubov, I did that one the last stream. And this was the first stream that I did when I got back from Vienna. I was vacationing in Austria for about a week. And I don't know if I mean it's I guess I was inspired, or I still am inspired by Vienna, and it was a super beautiful place. But it's funny because this doesn't look Viennese at all, but I feel like a lot of the architecture and stuff that I was drawing last stream was definitely things that I don't know. It was just a nice, refreshing way to come back and focus on things, and I don't know. Maybe I'm contributing that to it. I feel like it was I don't know. It was an interesting stream to come back and draw stuff. I mean, typically when I'm inspired by something, it's more like I want to draw architecture, and I have architecture on my brain a little bit, and so I draw architecture better or something, right? But it's not like I'm drawing, like I'm not looking at the photos and drawing the photos necessarily. That's more of just like a study, whereas I do things like, I'm going to just draw shapes of buildings, and then I kind of, maybe some of the lines are inspired, like the complexity of the shapes or something, right? Maybe like there's some architecture that will have little like intricacies in it, and maybe I want to make the shape, or maybe I want to make the shapes more like a single clean color. Hey Neo, how are you? Long time no see. Or actually, it hasn't been that long, but I don't think it has. Maybe it has. Has it been long? I feel like it hasn't been too long. But yeah, how are you? I mean, hi. Hi. Howdy. Yeah, sometimes I'll see things like with big, clean shapes. Actually, nope, slideshow is staying off for a moment. I will bring it back. I appreciate it, though. I'm going to be called out on that a lot today. I know it. And I appreciate the slide that show. But I have the slideshow off because I'm making my screen black and white a lot. And I'm wanting to keep it... Yeah, I want to keep it off momentarily. So it will come back eventually today. But right now in thumbnails, I think I'm going to keep it off. I want to try this where I allow myself to just explore different things. Okay, I do think I want... it's been long indeed. I tend to go to sleep really early these days. Ah, I see. I see. I'm gonna lurk while I finish off some homework. Ah, happy lurking and happy homeworking. Or maybe not happy, but just good luck. I realize homework isn't always a super happy thing. Some people hate it. I don't know. Depends. What kind of homework? And yeah, good luck with your homework. Actually, it's so weird. I never liked homework. I almost never even did homework. Like if I had it, I would make sure I get it done, but I would typically do it like at school in the morning the day before, or like right, during breakfast. Like I was always like the last minute homeworker. I would not like come home and do my homework after school and enjoy it. Like it was, I hated it. I did it in college, of course, because I had to, and that's different. But in like high school, I hated homework. But I'll say, now that I'm out of school entirely and I'm no longer in college, I've done that, and I did high school. I kind of miss it. Like I really have an appetite for learning after school. And I still do learn, and I try to carve out space to learn at least a little bit here and there. But yeah, it's really weird, I feel like, that only after all of the mandatory homework, and I'm like, now I mean, it's funny, the same thing happened with reading. It's like, school makes you read, and I hated reading when I wasn't in school. But now that I'm out of school, I'm like, oh, now I just want to read stuff or listen to audiobooks. Because it's like, now I get to choose what I read. And I guess, and I heard, there's that quote, like, school isn't to teach you things, it's to make you a lifelong learner, or something to that tone. And I really do think that is the most valuable thing of school. And unfortunately, I think sometimes that's not the goal. So it only happens to some people. Some people just get out of school and like, I never want to learn anything again. But no, I feel like learning stuff is like the spice of life. I know it sounds so stupid to say, but it really is like there's so much stuff out there that is just cool, and you don't know. I mean, okay, so like when I was in Vienna, we went to a natural history museum, and there are so many types of rocks. And like, because we were just looking at rocks, and I took tons of photos because a lot of them make really good references. And rocks might not seem that interesting to people, but as somebody who paints environments, I'm like, I'm interested in rocks, right? I paint a lot of them. I'm literally painting them right now. But I know so little about them, right? Like, I don't even, like, all the different types, there's tons. I don't know how different, I mean, like, I know how some of them are formed, right? Like, certain volcanic rocks, I understand how, you know, some rocks are, from molten lava cooling at different rates and different conditions. And I understand, certain categories of some rocks, but there are some that I'm like, not only do I not know what that is, I don't even know what the category is. I don't understand how these things form. And there's just like a world of knowledge in like these three rooms that we visited about this thing that I just don't know anything about. And I didn't learn it there, right? Because that wasn't what we were there for. Is we weren't there to like be academic and learn everything about them. We were just kind of marveling at them, I guess. But that to me is really cool. And it's like, dang, now I want to go learn about rocks more. And I feel like every topic, literally everything, has sort of that level of depth behind it that you just don't know about. It could be your microwave, right? Like, oh, it broke. Okay, well, there's so much going on behind the scenes of what makes it work, all the science and the engineering and why it is the shape it is and all the things. And, like, you probably have some idea of some of it, but there's probably a lot that, like, you just aren't good at, right? Like, you just don't know much about. Maybe it's the electrical, the wattage, and why it is like, there's just so much stuff to learn, and it's all fascinating to me now. Like, not all of it. A lot of it's boring as heck, but anyway. Sedimentary action, weathering action on existing structures, volcanic activity, tectonic activity, all the reasons for rocks I know. Yeah, but like even within that, right? There's tons of nuance. And when you see like, I mean, for me, it's like I know of those things too, but like you also have things like when you see literally thousands of different types of rocks and gems, and you're like, okay, well, I know that there's those let's say 6 big categories or whatever, but like there's so much variation in those to form literally thousands and thousands of different types of rocks. It's not just, oh, this is the same thing as this other. Like, no, they really are different because they're like, and I don't know. It's just, again, it's not about like, oh, somebody knows this, but but anyway, my point isn't about rocks, right? My point is there's just a depth of knowledge there that I don't have. And every single topic, whether it's learning about lighting or learning about different types of, I mean, for example, there's just so much. There's just so much stuff. It could be anything. I mean, we could be talking about botany, and the same thing applies. Every type of plant. Like, yes, I understand some stuff about some plants, but there's a lot about a lot of plants that I don't understand, and you can just keep on getting deeper and deeper, and it's entire careers, right? People have entire careers studying like specific kinds of birds, right? Where they're like a specialist on the, the mating habits of some species of bird or something. And it's like a very specific thing, right? And you can have like, do it studies after studies on this specific species. And yet here I am like, birds are birds. I'm adding them for scale, and it's not like there's so much depth to it. There's entire careers of depth to every single thing. Anyway, Ziviwani, how are you? Welcome. How are you? You can just keep getting deeper and deeper. Yeah, I mean, out of context quotes. That's what we love here in stream. NNK777, how are you? Welcome. And thank you for the follows, everyone. I appreciate it. I can't actually say all of your names, but I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for being here. And how was your stream, Sirwani? Good, long time no see. It has been a long time. I was gone for about a week, and now I'm back, and I see people are still streaming and rating, and thank you very much for being here. NNK, how are you? Alrighty, finally off to lurk. Happy lurking. Good luck with your homework. Yes, raid hype. Welcome in, raiders. Thank you for the following. Yeah, tell me about what you do. I mean, you've been here before, so I kind of know. But if you'd like to share any work, please do. I'm gonna spam some hypes in chat for the raids. Would you like to share your work? Because I would like to see it. Feel free to drop a link. I would love to show what you've been working on. And if anyone is new here, which there definitely are new people here, welcome. My name is Joe. I paint environments. We are doing a bunch of little thumbnails today, and then we're going to vote, and then we're going to pick one, and then we are going to work on it until the end of stream and hopefully refine it a bit. So for example, if we pick this one, I might start refining the shapes of maybe make these some dragons and maybe make this castle and architecture and all that. Figure out what the heck these lights are. Same here. If we pick this one, I might add some forms or shapes to these characters and define the buildings and do some stuff and render it a bit. Maybe add some colors. Right now I'm blocking out some simple structures, I guess, or something. I actually want to come in here and maybe make some interesting shapes. One thing I've noticed that I don't do a lot, which I want to do more of, is have clearly defined shape language, I guess, but also like shading forms well within bigger context. So like if I have like a light here and an ambient light, I want to have like, I actually want to shade this to make it look rounded as opposed to just blocking in some simple shape. If that makes sense. So I want to do more of that. But anyway, yeah, Zirwani, how are you? How was your stream and what were you working on? Or Zavierwani. I'm still bad at names. Here, actually, I'm going to snoop. I'm going to go to your stream. Let's go to your stream. What were you working on? Your art is so beautiful, by the way. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's go to videos. Do you have a clip that was up? Videos. No, it doesn't look like you. Oh, are your VODs private? Okay, they are. But yeah, would you like to share what you were working on? I want to see. Somebody should share. Do you have an Instagram or DeviantArt or ArtStation? Dang it, I want to be spoiled with the good art. Purely self-serving here. I'm just like, I just want to see good art and I want other people to show it to me. So this is my way of, this is like, I'm like a child. I'm like, show me the art. I think she maybe go to sleep. Oh, okay. Well, I hope they had a good stream. I hope she had a good stream. And thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being here, anyone who came in with the stream. Rinri Draw, how are you? Okay, maybe they are towers or buildings up here. Also, I have some more images I can share from my trip to Vienna. I downloaded all the images onto my computer so I can actually show them properly and not just flipping through an online thing. And I, of course, went through them and made some of them, you know, made it so you can't see some of them, because some of them we don't want to share. Like, I don't want to share photos of people that I was with, right? Because they didn't agree to that. But yeah. And right now I am trying to, ooh, I know what we can do. We can try to get some of the top layer of the rocks. So like if the horizon line's up here, we can make all of this stuff. We can see the top of it a little bit. That could be a thing. It's about 4 a.m. in our region. Oh, dang, that is early. That is early. Well, thank you again, everyone, for coming in. And if you do need to go to sleep, then feel free. I guess what I can do, I can put the slideshow back on, because that shows some of the stuff that I do. And also it shows that there are prints that can be redeemed, and I do send them anywhere in the world if you want them. Also, I am way behind on Patreon, because when I've ran out of time to upload all the videos to Patreon before I went on vacation, and then I haven't done anything with it since. So I still have to upload a bunch of stream videos or time lapses, not really stream videos, but time lapses. I feel like there should be like houses back here. That's what I want to do. I want to make little houses. How do I do this, though? Slideshow is back. All is well. Thank God. I wonder if their Twitter, Joe, is that something you want to look at? Yeah, I can look at their Twitter. Absolutely. Their stuff is beautiful. They have some... I really like their coloring. Let's see. Okay, their Twitter doesn't actually have a lot of art on it. Let's take a look. Media. They have some... They have some media. Let's see. Yeah, so here's some things. I guess I can scroll through some of their stuff. Let's do that. All right, we're gonna scroll through Xavierwani's stuff. They just rated us. Here's some quick things. So one, their banner is amazing. I assume they made this, but I don't know for sure because it is a little bit unlike some of their other stuff. The line, like the actual drawing, is wonderful though. So anyway, this is excuse me. Also, why is my screen doing this thing? Anyway, so this is an image from them, of theirs, and they do a lot of line art and just really nice drawings. They have, like, this is one of their pieces. I don't know. I assume that these are their pieces, but I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, I apologize. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to assume that this is all of their stuff, or not all of it, but some of it. So they do some really cute line art, really cute drawings. I like their coloring and like, yeah, their colors are great. Stuff like this. So again, really nice lines, nice colors, very graphical, anime kind of style. I don't know what you want to call it. Anyway, I don't want to scroll too far. I'm not sure what we're gonna see. So, but yeah, there's some quick stuff. Looks like mostly characters, stylized characters with really nice line work and colors, the whole thing. I want their Twitter, Joe, if that's something. Yeah, I do. Yes, no problem. We like to see other people's art, and if they don't share, I usually want their social media. Yeah, that works. That works. Quote 244 is self-care reminder for my chatting friends and strangers. Have you forgotten any meds? Are you hungry, tired? Please take care of yourself. Talk being a blessing. Yeah, yes, that's also important. Definitely. Okay. So I do want to, again, maybe add some architecture in here. This is something that I think is fun, where you just take simple like rock formations or whatever, and you just start basically saying, well, what if these weren't rocks, right? What if these were something else? What if they were buildings? You know, maybe we put some overhangs in here. I actually think there are more things on our Facebook, though. Well, I don't actually have Facebook, so I can't even look through it. And I'm sure there are. That wasn't very much. And that's okay. Yeah, OMG, dude, it's so good. Miss, I got new internet and it's fast. Ah, Brett, how are you? Long time no see. Welcome, Brett. Also, thank you for the follow. Not Brett, but the other person, the person who just followed. So yeah, this could be some architecture. And again, I don't know the scale of it, but I kind of want to. Maybe we put some light in here. I don't know, maybe we do some red or yellow. I mean, these are the obvious colors. Let's add some different colors in here though. Let's take like a blue or a yellow. Actually, let's do some reds. I don't know, reds could be fun. Maybe like red skies. You may have like a red sky from above and blue from in here. I don't know. Just trying different things. You never know. And the banner was drawn by her. You're right. Okay, I assume so. It looked like it was all from the same person, but you never know when you're looking through social media. Sometimes other artists will commission people, but yeah, I assumed all that was from her. Brett, I am curious though. I'm in and out usually. You're never forgotten. What is Miska 58 Sati? Got new internet and it's fast. What does that mean? You said, OMG, dude, it's so good. Miska 58 Sati. Was that a. Was that a. What is that? What does that mean? That little string of letters and numbers there. I feel like that's something I should know what it is, but I don't. Sorry, it was a typo? Okay. I wasn't sure. No worries. But yeah, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Okay, so what I'm trying to do right now is basically just bring in some fun colors. I don't really care about values. I mean, I did care about values, but I just want to play around with some vibrant, fun colors. See what happens. Maybe if I color dodge. Stuff like this. Just trying to pick some really bright colors that can make for some nice lighting. I wonder what time you usually streaming. Just like now? Yep, just like now. Now is the time. Yep, so whatever time I am, it's right now. I've been live for 1 hour, and I stream 3 days a week. The same time, I stream Saturday, which is today, and Monday, which is 2 days from now, and Thursday. So Saturday, Monday, and Thursday. I don't know. It's probably not Saturday anymore. It's probably Sunday now for you. But yeah, this time, 3 days a week. I realize once the clock switches over past midnight, it becomes really hard to keep track of times. But yeah, yep. The time that never changes. So if you tune in at this time every day, there is a 50-50 chance that I'm going to be live because I stream half the time. Okay, if it is such a thing, I'm tweaking on my new internet. Played GTA V for a bit and some Path of Exile. Both things I couldn't have done before. Path of Exile is great. So speaking of Path of Exile, I'm a huge fan. I've been playing the game for many years. basically since it's come out, and back like 10 years ago or however long. And each league I play less and less, but man, with the release of Ruthless mode, that mode was like built for me. I can just mindlessly play it. You can take it slow. It encourages slow play, and anything you find makes you excited to find it because everything has weight and it's meaningful when you find like a new gem that you didn't have before. Like everything is, I don't know, that mode is great. So I don't know, it's not for some people, but yeah, I love it. Anyway, so yeah, right now I'm trying to add in some lighting for, where the sun comes in. I like this. I feel like we can totally put some sort of path in here. I got to go for a bit, BRB. All right, see ya, Dynamic. Or Etho, I'm not sure which you want me to call you. Okay, I'm curious what some of this stuff could be in the foreground. I'm putting little leaves here. But I don't know if that's what I want to do. I feel like I could totally put... I'm just making these little geometric shapes here. And I'm going to try to see if this will work. Maybe little rocks. It has lots of currency types. It does. And there's definitely a barrier to entry. Like, if you're a new player, it's not a newbie-friendly game because there's just so much stuff. But yeah, it sucks that it's not a newbie friendly game. But once you get like past like the Wikipedia scouring phase where you're like you don't know what anything does, so you're constantly just looking it up online. Once you're past that phase, it actually, I don't know, then you can just play it without thinking too much. But yeah, there's a lot. Okay, anyway, here is something. I like this. This is a cute little... a nice little village or something. There we go. I think all I can do is watch your VOD or social media. Usually can't be awake at this time. No worries. So I try and here, let me find it. I try to put all my VODs on YouTube because I realize they go away. I don't know. I wonder how Twitch works with... No, I don't actually care about that. But anyway, I do have a YouTube channel. Technically, I have 2 YouTube channels. I don't really upload anything to my main channel, oddly enough. But I do upload stuff to my alternate channel. So if I switch account, go to my VODs channel. I do have a VODs channel. I haven't uploaded stuff there in a while, and I might end up missing a VOD. So it's actually not in my socials channel. So this is my VODs channel, that last one I linked. And that has some VODs. The last one is from 2 weeks ago because I took a week vacation. But I need to do more uploading. And yeah, basically I try to put all the VODs from my streams there. I've just recently started doing this. I don't really expect anyone to ever watch them. Like, they're not actually there to be watched. They're more just there as an archive for me, so that if maybe someday I want to clip something or I lose track of something, I have a secret YouTube. Yeah, so SGiller69, what is that? What's SGiller? I don't know what that means. But yeah, anyway, that's my secret channel. But yes, again, it's not actually a channel that I would typically share it with people, but it is there if anyone actually wants to see VODs. Again, VODs are not exactly exciting to watch, but I understand that some people like them. I'm not judging you if you like them. I just got your secret. Nice. You did. You've got my secret channel. Okay. I like these oranges and reds, so I want to do something more with this. So let's bring in some of these oranges and reds and yellows. It's funny how when you color pick these nice colors and you try to put them over here, they don't look as good because there's so many little subtle gradients. Anyway, I'm gonna just start adding some colors. But not just any colors, colors with nice gradients and colors with good value changes. Thank you. Got to go to bed now. Have a good day, guys. Thank you so much for coming in with the raid Rinri draws or Rinri draw. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Have a good sleep. And I hope to maybe see you again sometime. But I also realize it's super late. So go get some rest and take care. And happy arting. Also, if someday you want to share what you do, feel free to link your stuff because we like to see what other people do. So, and we have a Discord. If you actually, I guess that's another way you can interact. We do have a Discord too. If you want to pop in, because then you can post stuff or talk anytime, and then of course, you know, we could respond later. So that's another option. Korosu, thanks for the follow. How are you? And speaking of responding later in Discord, even if I'm awake when you type, I probably will still respond later because I'm not always amazing at responding right away. But it is nice to like be able to interact and share stuff and just hang out. And we also do some stuff a little earlier on Sundays. We actually do like an art session or study session. I don't know what you want to call it. And we do that 3 hours before when I stream. So if right now is 4 a.m., then we do it 4 hours. We do it at midnight. So that's still late, but a little earlier. Ooh, I have an idea. I have an idea. Korosu, how are you doing, by the way? Thanks for the follow. Hope everyone's doing well on this nice Saturday. I hope it's nice. I haven't... So, also, has there been... This is going to be a stupid question. I have been not paying attention to the news for, like... Normally, I don't really pay... Okay, so I'm going to go on a random rant. I do not typically pay attention to the news. Like, I think it's... 99% of the time it's stuff that doesn't do me any good to even think about or really know about, and it's not relevant to me, and it's not going to affect my decisions, and it's just more stressful than anything. And if something's really important, then I'll hear about it through other means, right? Like pandemic stuff or whatever. So I typically don't listen to the news or really consume news at all. And sometimes I'll, see random crap on like Twitter or something, and then it's probably fake, but even then, who knows? So I get my news like basically just word of mouth, and I don't really watch news or anything. But when I was on vacation for a week, I basically did zero social media, and I saw zero news. You ready with the hazmat suit? What? See, I feel like... See, so I genuinely don't know if anything's happened in the last week at all. Like, I don't think so, but anyway, it's... Who knows? No, I don't. I don't have a hazmat suit. No, I'm not... I just don't... I don't like watching the news. I just feel like it's... Honestly, I'm always a little conflicted, and I don't want to get into news or politics, really, but I'm always a little conflicted with the news. Also, Manikitos, how are you? I'm always a little conflicted because I do feel like it is like my duty as a person living on Earth to sort of be in the know about what's happening, right? Like I feel like it's almost like I owe it to myself and to other people to stay up to date with the news. but at the same time, it basically doesn't impact me. Do you know what I mean? Do I use the smudge tool? Sometimes. I don't think I have yet today. So not in these. But I do use the smudge tool. So there's two smudge tools I use. I use a blurry tool where it's a smudgy, it's kind of like a soft tool. I use it for sometimes for blending or softening certain edges. Um, so I do use a smudge tool, and then I also use a different smudge tool that I've kind of made. It's a much harder edge, and it's much more smudgy, which is basically just a square brush with some smudge on it. So it's extremely digital looking. It's not painterly at all, but it's not bad for mixing some color or getting quick gradients. If you just want to make something that's really messy and painterly, it's quite nice. So those are kind of the two smudges I use. This first one that I use, so let's say I have two lines here, right, and I want to smudge these together. This one, this is more of like noise. It's like a noise smudge kind of. And I like this because it actually aligns with some of my other brushes. So like, for example, this brush. This brush it's a little grainy, but you can see how they kind of have this grain to them that almost looks the same. So if I'm using this brush to paint, right? Let's say I'm using this brush to paint with, then I can use the smudge brush really well to soften parts, and it kind of blends seamlessly. So I do like that. So that's one nice thing about this smudge brush is it's more of like an edge control brush, right? I'm not using it for blending necessarily. I'm using it just to make my shapes more interesting, and yeah, if that makes sense. But then this other smudge brush is an actual smudge brush, and I'll use it for sometimes blending. But I don't know. I don't really use this much, honestly. I don't use either of them very much. If I do, it's probably pretty late in the painting. It's like a correction tool. If I want to correct something, then I might come in there and smudge around. Or sometimes I'll use it to like, if I'm using a textured brush and I didn't really mean to, I can come in here and just kind of smudge it out and make it less textured, because at this phase of the painting I don't really want texture. But typically I use this brush, which blends pretty well. I can just color pick and move colors around. There's no smudging going on here. This is just the brush. So that's another thing. So yeah, smudge tools destroys your PC. Oh, that sucks. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Yeah, the smudge tool is definitely not necessary. If anyone is ever like, oh, I want to paint like such and such, or I want to paint like Joe, but I can't use the smudge tool, therefore I can't. Like, yeah, no specific tool is really ever necessary. I think there's most of the time there's like 10 ways to do everything you want to do in any art program, whether you're in Photoshop or Clip Studio like I am. If you want to make a hard edge line, you could use the lasso tool, right? You can do that to make a hard edge line. If you want to make a soft edge, right, you could obviously use an airbrush, or you could use a smudge tool. Oops, that's not a smudge tool. Or you could use a smudge tool, right? Or you could use just a textured brush, right? You could do something like this brush, which is kind of a different type of soft edge, right? There's lots of ways to do soft edge. You could make a selection, and you could go in and edit it, and you could do layer, and then you could do like a blur type thing, right? Filter, blur, right? Effect. I don't know how to do this. I don't use this one. Blur, right? Gaussian blur, and you could just crank it up to high amounts, right? That's another way to do a blur effect, right? So there's lots of ways to get any effect you want. And I don't think you ever, like, I don't always do the same thing. I might have things that I, like habits, but they're never required, right? And I think that's like ultimately where I want to be is so that I can seamlessly move between any of them, so that if one of them works better, for example, layered modes like what I just did with a big selection and I went to Gaussian blur, that doesn't work if you're on 20 different layers, right? So, but if you're painting on one layer, maybe that's not a bad way to do it. But if I'm on different layers and I can't just do an effect that affects the whole thing, right? Then maybe I can just come in here and just paint in the soft edge that I want, because that's quicker and more efficient than merging all my layers and applying some weird layer mode. Hey, Red Rock and Pasta, how are you? Hello, hello. I see you there. So that kind of thing where depending on what you're doing and what stage of the painting you're at and how many layers, or if you have layers, maybe if you're working in color or not. Some effects are better with color. For example, smudge tool is not typically accepted as being good for colors. It does kind of gray things down. And I think it's hard to find a smudge tool that really retains color. It almost always either keeps it or destroys it. It's never going to add more color. So if your painting is maybe looking, maybe your colors aren't amazing, and so maybe the smudge tool is not a good option because it's actually not what you want in that moment, right? Maybe you're better off, just painting with an airbrush over the top of it, but adding colors intentionally, right? So if maybe for example, this painting's a little gray. Instead of smudging these colors, maybe I could come in here and just add with an airbrush some extra bright highlights, which kind of gives the effect of a smudginess because it's a soft brush and that's what smudge does. Except in this case, it's adding a little bit of, vibrancy to it, right? So there's that kind of thing where sometimes you just have to pick based on what you want, and you have to really get a feel for the tools. You're not too good today. Oh no, Red Rock and Pasta, I'm sorry. Your process is mesmerizing. No. I'm glad. Thank you. Enrique Phoenix, how are you? Or Enrique Phoenix, not Enrique. Yeah, Enrique. Am I saying your name right? Maybe not. But yeah, I mean, so my process is, so it's funny that you say it's mesmerizing. I feel like my process is very much just pick colors that I think are nice. So like, here, I'm going to write out my process. I'm going to do it with a text. Step 1. The steps aren't always this order. Pick nice colors, right? Step 2 is ignore colors and focus on values. Step 3 is on values and shapes. Step 4, refine shapes, right? Step 3. Step 4 is, focus on, or let's see, refine shapes and, maybe, not refine shapes. Focus on values and shapes. Step 3 is think about composition. Step 4 is refine shapes. But I mean, I kind of mix these up. And then I just basically start jumping between all of them, which is adjusting some colors and focusing on shapes again and pick, composition. And, color dodge can be in there, right? This can be like, refocus on colors. So you basically have, and this isn't like a step-by-step thing exactly, because I don't always start with colors. Sometimes I'll start in grayscale, and then I'm starting with the second step, and then I'll go back and do colors next. But it's kind of like a cycle. So like, for example, right now, I've picked some colors that I kind of like, and so now I'm ignoring the colors. I'm literally doing this. Here, let's make this larger. That's too large. Okay, so like right now, I've already picked colors here that I kind of like, but they're not amazing, right? They're not perfect, but I kind of like something about them. So now I'm going to ignore this step, and I'm going to ignore colors and focus on shapes and values. So now I'm thinking about composition, right? So that's kind of these two steps combined, shapes and values. But like, you know, I'm layering things up. Maybe this is in the foreground, right? Maybe I want like an overhang up here. So I'm thinking about how this can, you know, maybe there's some dark shapes back here. Oops, let's go back to my blur smudge brush. That didn't work. Right, so maybe I'm thinking about like an overhang in this area. It's like a cliff or something. And maybe there's some light on the cliff. So now I'm thinking about composition and values. As easy as simple steps might be the way you make. Well, yeah, I mean, I am juggling them, right? I mean, that's like saying, oh, this is so easy. Each of these are a ball that I'm juggling, right? Well, juggling 5 balls is really hard, right? I can't juggle like hardly 3, right? So it's not easy, but each one is just a very simple thing, right? And again, there's obviously a lot that goes into pick nice colors. That's extremely simplified, right? What makes colors nice? You have to know some color theory, right? For composition, you probably need to know a little bit about, you know, perspective. You need to know about lighting, right? Same for shapes. You need to know about design, right? When you ignore colors, focus on shapes and values. Again, this is some compositional stuff. There's atmospheric perspective. There's a lot that goes on in here, right? There's overlapping shapes when you're thinking about composition, right? There's a lot of different things. So it's not like, oh yeah, this is so easy. And I'm not claiming it's easy. But the process is simple, right? Simple to me does not mean easy. Simple just means, I mean, like I would call chess simple, right? It's simple in the sense that there's clearly defined rules. They're not, you know, the rules don't change on you as you play it. It's the same, right? Every game it has the same rules. There's no hidden information. It's simple. It's straightforward. It's obviously extremely difficult, but the gist of it, to understand what you need to work on to get better, is very clear, right? There's like there are clear, like if you were to ever take a chess lesson, right, you have like the openings, you have tactics, you have the end game, right, you have like strategic, like positional play, right, you have some more fundamental stuff like passed pawns and king safety and piece development. These are all like fundamentals that you could go and learn about from YouTube videos, right? Applying them all is really hard because now you're juggling like 7 things or more, right? And eventually, as you get into higher levels, you're juggling like 100 things. And same for art, right? Everything is simple, but you're just juggling a lot. And you're juggling a lot of really simple things. It's a clear path, but it's a long one there's a lot of variables, and each variable is a thing to study and learn, and then you have to learn how to juggle it with all the other variables. And it is like, at the end, it is like, you know those images of, here, let me find one, of like a switchboard or whatever. Switchboard images. Not a switchboard. Yeah, kind of like a switchboard. Not a switchboard, though. Or, you know those like, maybe a DJ, how they have like millions of knobs, like a mixing, let's see, audio mixing console. What's you know those things with all those, yeah, here we go. Like this. Right? When you see things like this, you're like, oh my god, that's a lot, right? And you're like, how the heck could you ever know what all those buttons do? To me, this is kind of like art. Like, you could take a week and learn what each of these buttons, you could learn what this first button does, right? You could learn what this button does, or that knob, in a week, right? Easy. Or you could learn it in a day. And you could go in the next one. But at some point, when you start combining them all together, right? This is probably a bad example because I don't even know what this thing does. But at some point, there's just a lot of little tiny things and variables to play with. And it's not that any one is difficult or complex, but when they're all put in unison, that's kind of how I feel about art a little bit. I mean, I guess audio, sound and music is art. So it's very similar. But yeah, so I'm not trying to make it sound easy. It's just it's not like some complex magic. To me, it's very understandable how it's done. It's just very difficult to do it, right? I mean, maybe another good analogy is like weightlifting, right? Nobody looks at a weightlifter and is like, wow, they're magical, It's like, no, we know how they did it. We know that they just ate healthy or at least had enough. They ate the right stuff to where their body can grow muscle when they put it under stress, and they put their body under the right amount of stress over and over, and they build up those muscles, and then they get really strong, right? Like, we know that there's a few things involved, right? And we pretty much understand that, right? We can look at someone who's really huge and strong and be like, "Yep, I understand. Like, I'm not that strong, but I understand how they got there, right? I know they weren't just. It wasn't a magic that made them strong." And the same thing. And there was probably a time in human history when people didn't really understand human strength, right? They thought strong people did things that required strength, and they probably didn't realize at some point that you can get strong intentionally by doing difficult things that require your muscles, right? There's probably a time, I don't know enough about that, and I'd actually be curious, but there was probably a time when people attributed people's strength to the gods, right? Because they didn't understand that the people who are using their muscles all day and eating well and getting enough nutrients to build muscles are like, they probably didn't realize there was a process, right? And I think the same is true for art. It's not some mysterious thing, right? It's very like, to me, I look at it like, yeah, I understand how that person got there. They're amazing at it. And it can kind of look like magic, but like, I understand that it's a thing that anyone can do. Okay, I kind of feel weird about asking specifically in the middle of this conversation. I just came into my mind today and I cannot get out of it. Do you do commission like things or make some concepts for somebody else? I do. Yeah, I take commissions. Not super common. My main income is not art, unfortunately, yet. But yes, I do take commissions, and sometimes I will make art for other people for things, but that's not my main source of income, no. But I'd like it to be. So if you're looking, if you're hiring, yes. But no, it's not at the moment. Ooh, I like that. I want to put these in here. So I want to make this look like it's in perspective. I completely agree. I wasn't arguing. Yeah, no, I know you. I go on rants a lot when people say certain things, and that's not, yeah, definitely not an argument here. I completely agree. I wasn't arguing that you were saying it's easy. Obviously, it isn't. However, seeing someone who has amazing control of something that I have been practicing for a while, yeah, I mean, I try, like, there's still a ton that I want to get better at. I wouldn't. I mean, thank you for saying I have amazing control over it. I don't really feel like I do. But I mean, some of this stuff I do. But some of it I definitely don't. And it's still hard, right? I mean, especially when you're designing your own paintings and you're not just, and gosh, it's hard for me to even say that because it sounds like I'm dismissing painting from reference, and I'm not. But it's just a different skill, and to me, like, the difficult part of painting for me is the coming up with something part, which is kind of what I do on stream, and because I enjoy that part. It's also difficult though, right? It's not finding a photo online that I like and just painting that. Again, not saying that's easy. It's a whole skill all unto itself, and there's tons of things you can do with that, right? You can start from a photo and deviate, you can change things, you make decisions, you simplify the composition, right? You add stuff, you remove things. There's still a ton of things you can do there, and even if you are just trying to copy a photo one-to-one, it still is extremely difficult, right? But what I'm saying is that the planning phase for me is difficult, and that doesn't really exist always in finding an image that I like. So there is an element of like it's definitely not easy, right? Because every painting is different and there are problems to be solved, and it is problem solving, right? It's not something if I work for, 8 to 10 hours, let's say doing some other job or some other thing, and I come home and I'm exhausted, I can't just sit down and paint stuff that I'm happy with, right? I'm physically incapable. Like, my brain is literally not functioning well enough to do the things I want to do because it does require brain power and work. And if I'm not sort of, awake and rested, and then it's not going to be as good because it does take effort, right? It's not the same as just, paint by number, which again, nothing wrong with paint by number, but it's just a different thing, right? Anyway, was good. How are you? Thanks for the follow. And Sofix, how are you? Thank you for the follow. Hope everyone is doing well. And Usagi Ro, hope you're doing well. But yeah, ooh, actually, let's put some shapes here. I feel like this, I don't know how the light in here comes down, but I feel like there's something to this. Maybe the light is coming across, like across here. No, then that wouldn't make any sense. Where is this light coming from? I gotta figure this out. How do I want to see? So this is a problem that I face when I'm painting. It's kind of like magic to see somebody do their craft, isn't it? It is. I mean, I think especially when the craft is juggling. So some things I think don't look like juggling, right? Like a sprinter who's running, right? That looks like they're doing one thing and they're doing it really, really well, right? I don't think that looks as much like magic as somebody who is doing a task that is combining 20 things at once, right? And art is much more like combining 20 things at once because you are thinking about so many different things. You're not just, putting a picture from your head on the page, right? You're actively designing it, you're developing it, you're making decisions in real time, and you're reacting to what you've done in the past, and you're thinking about the future, and you're trying to make things accurate, consistent. You're thinking about perspective, maybe you're doing anatomy. There's so many different little things, right? There's color theory, composition. It really is like a giant juggling act, right? And I think that's, to me, does look a little bit more like magic, right? And I think another one, like maybe even juggling, right? And I know juggling, again, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, they're just doing, they're just not tossing one ball, but they're tossing five. But there is an element, like when you try it, you're like, my body is not capable of doing this, right? You're like, it feels like they have something that you don't because they have skill and you don't. Right? Like it feels like, holy crap, this person is superhuman. But I think there are different, I mean, I think skateboarding is another good example, maybe, because skateboarding, there's like tricks involved, and every trick is different, and it's like, holy, like maybe, but maybe not, because it's still it looks kind of like skateboarding every time. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an analogy for art where it's like essentially a thing that is juggling. Good morning, Vietnam. Fortunate Son plays in the background. How are you, Adam? But yeah, what's another skill or task that maybe cooking? Maybe like people who throw things in a pan and it all just tastes delicious. Maybe that's another good example of like juggling that it feels like magic because when you do it, it doesn't turn out as good, but when they do it, it's amazing. I don't know. I'm trying to think of skills that have many moving parts that when pulled off seamlessly, it just looks like the person is just, it looks effortlessly, but it is also math. Yeah, maybe math. Math is a good example. I think that's a good example. There's a lot of different rules and things to consider, and it's very abstract. And if you're not used to thinking in that way, you in some cases probably just can't. Um, yeah, that's probably a good example. And it's funny because math might be the best example mentioned today, and it's funny that we're literally putting math and art in the same group of like things where there's a lot of variables, right? Yeah, we're literally talking about things with a lot of variables. And yeah, that can be math too. I mean, I think like a business management. I mean, there's the concept, and it's been mentioned on art stuff before, but it's the the concept of like kind versus wicked learning, and like wicked environments are ones with lots of variables. And I think like a business, managing people is another good example where everybody's a little bit different, and people who are really good with people kind of are, they're used to managing with, they're used to interacting with lots of different types of people in lots of different situations, and they can deal with, stressful situations and of different types. And like some people are just really good with other people, right? And it feels like, oh, that's something they have that I could never have. And I don't agree with that. I think just like art, just like math, you can learn it. Anyway, Basilisk, I am doing well today. I'm a little ranty, which I like. It makes stream go quick, and not that I want it to go quick, but it does make it go quick, and it also is just fun. And I think sometimes good topics arise from it. But yeah, so I am doing well. I still have no idea where this light is coming from. I guess just directly down from above. Like if you... Oh wait, doing alright, my man. Finally had my tabletop RPG session today after 5 months, and right now trying to make progress on some 3D models for competition. Oh, very cool. Sushi Cat says, like, if you know some things about the skateboarding itself, you will see there are more different skills that need to be practiced and such. Yeah, I mean, I use skateboarding, let's see. I think some of them does depend on how much you know about it, though. Like, for example, for me, Formula 1 car driving looks like magic. How they count the corners and stuff. Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, I think most things, even things that look simple, like running or Formula 1 racing, right? I think they do look simple, and they look very straightforward. But then, obviously, once you start to dive in deep, they are way more complex than you would ever know, right? Like, with running, for example, right, there is a lot to form, there's lots to pacing, there's proper nutrients, and you need to understand how your body handles certain situations. You need to understand just human physiology in general, because just because you feel tired doesn't mean that you can't push through it, but other times maybe it's actually unhealthy. Like there's all sorts of, I'm not a good runner. I don't know anything about running, but I realize there's a lot more under the surface than what just seems like, oh, you just run, right? I realize there's more to it than that, right? Same with, Formula 1 racing, right? A lot of people look at it and like, oh, they just go really fast in a straight line or maybe a couple curves or whatever. But no, there's a lot more to it than that, because there always is. But to me, in some ways, that's almost like the opposite of art, right? I think some people view some things like art as this wildly complicated thing it just seems like magic, and they don't even know how they could ever approach it. Whereas like with running, I think everybody knows that if you want to get better at running, just go run, right? But for some reason with art, people don't always think that if you want to get better at art, you just do art, because they think they're just going to suck forever. And I think it's just because it's it's the opposite, right? It's like it looks more complex than it is, whereas I think running is more complex than it looks, right? I think Formula 1 racing is more complex than it looks. Now, to some people, once you know enough about it, you're like, holy crap, that's insane, right? Same thing with sports, right? Sports look very dumbed down. I mean, in some ways they are, but I think most people look at a sport, try it out, and they're like, oh, this is harder than it looks, I just must not be good at it, right? But it still looks pretty simple, but there is a lot more going on, What I kind of feel like art might be the opposite, right? I don't think it looks simple. Maybe it does. But I think some people try art and like they literally think they could never do that, right? To me that's almost, I mean, I don't know, maybe it is this, maybe it's all the same thing. Maybe it's all the same thing cuz I'm thinking of like weightlifting, right? Like somebody tries to lift 300 pounds and they can't do it and they're like, I could never lift 300 pounds, right? I don't think people think like that. I think people understand how you get better at weightlifting. But I think if somebody tries to draw a character and doesn't succeed, they don't think like it's weird that then they think, oh, I'm just not artistic. Why do people think that way with art and they don't think that way with weightlifting? Aren't we all kind of tried to do, or haven't we all tried to do? Yeah, I think so. And everybody's tried to run in our life. Yeah, no, I think everybody's tried to do art in our childhood. But a lot of people think, they come to the conclusion, oh, I'm just not artistic. Or, oh, I just don't have art talent. Because they're bad at it. Of course, it's a skill. You're going to be bad at something, right? But typically, you don't come to the conclusion, oh, I'm just not a weightlifter. No, you try weightlifting. It's hard. You might not like it. But you're not disillusioned by thinking that you just don't have it in you. Like, no, you realize that if you keep on lifting weights, you're going to get stronger and stronger, and of course you can keep getting stronger. But with art, I think people tell themselves too early that they can't do it for some weird reason. I don't know. I really don't know why. I guess my hypothesis is that it's because it's more like juggling and there's just so many moving parts. It's harder to see the straight path, like because there isn't one. Right? Whereas with weightlifting, the straight path is lift more weights, lift frequently, right? With art, it's not just do more art. There can be things like go out and experience life, right? Have a story to tell, right? There can be things like pay attention to light and color or light and shadow. I don't know. That's just my hypothesis. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Here is what you do if someone wants to get better at art. Define what you want to get better at. Yeah, sit in front of the tools, fail a lot. Hire a guy who holds cute pets in front of you as hostage with a gun. If you fail, what? No, that's got really intense. That got really intense really fast. I was told by a teacher that if you can do art, you are a creative type and basically good at everything, or at least... So, I don't agree with that. I mean, look, I'm not arguing that some people aren't maybe more inclined to think certain ways. I don't know what makes that, whether it's genetics or, early childhood, just maybe the things you did or where you lived or how your parents talked, and maybe as a result you started thinking in certain ways, right? Maybe if your parents talk in analogies, you start growing up thinking more abstractly. I don't know. I genuinely don't know why some people take to certain things more than others. And sure, it exists. But I don't think that speaks anything about the end potential, right? Like, I don't think that doesn't mean you can't get better at art, right? I don't think there are creative... I'm going to get really controversial here. I know this guy has, like... Some people really like him, and I think some people talk about him like he is like a spokesperson for the right, and then some people talk about him like he is, super just like a thought leader or something. But okay, so there's that guy Jordan Peterson, right? This is where I'm getting really controversial, and I think he spouts a ton of stupid stuff, and one of the things maybe he has some good points. Maybe he helps some people. Whatever. I'm all for it if it works for you. Whatever. But he said something that just made me facepalm, and he literally said what you said, Basilisk, is essentially some people are creative and some people aren't. Essentially to that tone. Maybe I'm probably not giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm probably paraphrasing, but essentially it was something like some people just aren't creative types and they can never be creative types. Right? And it's like you can't do creative stuff. And I think that's BS, because name something that isn't creative. Like, there's always, I mean, what is a not a, I don't know. Like, I think people, I mean, creativity is essentially problem solving, is it not? And you can absolutely get better at problem solving. Like, you can, if, I don't know. To me, that was like, I feel like I can think of like a million examples where that statement was wrong. And again, maybe not. Maybe he had some truth behind it. I don't know. But I'm like, I don't even care what other nonsense this guy's talking about, because that thing right there is just visibly false to me. Like, there are people, like my dad, for example, he would never consider himself creative. He's not, like, he works in agriculture. He literally drives around and just talks to some people and tells them, essentially, he looks at plants. He doesn't do this anymore, he's retired, but he'd look at like the crops and decide when they're ready to harvest. And like, he's not a, like, nothing about him screamed creative, right? He liked to go out in nature walks, and just, he liked to hike and he liked to hunt. He was a outdoorsy person. Yeah, she's a web designer, not a, yeah. But at the same time, my dad is like the most what do you call it, like, what's the word? There's a word for this. Like, I guess a handyman. Like, he is somebody who, he's just gonna do things his way. He doesn't care how other people do it. And like, if the sink needs fixing, he's just gonna go buy parts and fiddle with it. That is so creative. You're literally experimenting on stuff and learning how to do it and solving problems in ways that maybe aren't to standards, but they're, to code, but you're just doing it your own way and you're coming up with your own solution. That is so creative. That is like almost the definition of creative, right? He'll find little pieces of things and be like, oh, this could solve this problem. Like, dude is creative. Like, he would never say that, right? He doesn't think of himself as creative, but like, everybody solves problems. You might not like it, and you might not encourage yourself to solve problems, but everyone solves some problems, and the more that you solve those problems, the better you get at solving those problems, right? Like, it's, again, I don't know. It just blows my mind that some people have the idea that some people can't be creative. Like, I'm not saying everyone likes being creative. Carpentry is art, man. One time I did a Reno, and we made tables and benches from old bowling lanes. That sounds cool. There are reasons why we've got phrase creative accounting, because you're forgetting there are different aspects of creativity or subgroups. Well, no, I'm not forgetting that there's different. I'm advocating that there is an element of creativity in just about everything, right? You could take something like playing League of Legends, right? From decide, that's creative in the sense of you're literally competition, right? You're competing and you're problem solving, right? The problem is, how do I outsmart, outplay, or perform my opponent? Or how do I improve my own abilities, right? Sometimes you have to be creative to do that, right? I think any sort of excellence, almost by definition, is creative, right? Now, there are people who don't strive for excellence, right? And I think there are people who don't strive to be creative, but it doesn't mean that they aren't capable of it. It just means they maybe don't like it. Anyway. Zilly, how are you? I'm just going on a rant about creativity. Welcome in, Raiders. Zillustrator, long time no see. Oi, Raiders. Yeah. I strive to be swooshy. Yeah. Zilly, what would you tell someone if they're like, do you subscribe to the idea? I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. I guess I would want to debate you on it. But what are your views when people say things like, some people are creative or can be creative and other people can't? Like, do you just, like, you're a lunatic? Like, what is? Because to me that just pisses me off. Like, there's creativity in everything. There's creativity in doing household chores. There's creativity in, like, cleaning your toilet if you want. I mean, it might not be as obvious, but like, there's literally, you can find a creative way to do things. It's not even a creative way. It's more of just problem solving. It's literally, how do I clean my toaster without killing myself, right? Oh, I need to unplug it. To me, that's like the core of it, right? Like you're problem solving. You're doing things. You're taking what you know about things, whether it's electrical systems or your toaster or whatever, and you're saying, how do I avoid this thing? And then you problem solve, and then you implement it. That to me is creativity, right? You're doing that with painting. You're saying, how do I make this thing, look more like a cat? Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's very multidisciplinary. I mean, I think anything, especially if we talk about like high performers, I think anyone who's performing at like in their field well is absolutely a creative person, almost by definition. Do you follow Steven Jarn? I do. I do follow him. Um, Up Jump Pixels, how are you? Thank you for the follow. But yeah, anyway, Zilly, what were you working on? How are you? And hope you're doing well. I've been away for about a week. This is my second stream after coming back from vacation. We all follow Steven. Yeah, we like Steve. Steve is great. He's, yeah, great streamer. I merged 2 work in progresses into one. Ooh, very cool. I like that. Did you do like a... Yeah, I'm curious. I'd be curious to see how you did that. Or, yeah, I would love to see. Whenever I think of that, I always have like my go-to habits, which is funny because on this whole talk about creativity, sometimes I feel like I'm the least creative artist. Like I'm not claiming to be great at it. In fact, I always struggle to come up with ideas, and a lot of the times I just do the same stuff over and over. And it's like if I want to combine 2 paintings, I'll take like the composition of one and the colors of another, and like that's my go-to. It's like I don't have other. No, that's the thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like it's weird to me that some people are like, oh, it's so creative. Like to me, it's not a mystery, right? It's like any other skill. It's like, well, of course, I have little systems and I have habits and I have methods to combine things, right? It's like if you want to take 2 animals and merge them together, right? You could start with like a dog and a cat, and you put the head of a dog and the tail of a cat, or maybe it's a dog and a walrus and the head of a dog and the tail of a walrus, right? Like, okay, that's very, very simple. It's almost formulaic, but it's still creative. And then you can start branching out, right? Then you can say what if I switch that around? Or what if I make the body shape of one, but I have all the arms and legs of the other, right? Like, you can just start mixing and matching, and you can have different things. I don't think creativity needs to be anything more magical than something like that. You're just applying it to things that you haven't done before. It's literally, yeah, anyway. I don't know what I'm going on about. Why am I still ranting? We should be voting, but I've only done 3 thumbnails today. Jesus, I haven't been... Wait, if you did like something already and learned to do it, does that not take away its creativity? If you're applying, I mean, I it depends. So sometimes there's like, so I was chatting with my brother yesterday, and we were talking about like macro versus micro things, and like sometimes you want to focus on the macro and sometimes you want to focus on the micro, and he used like League of Legends as an example. But I think the same applies to creativity. Like if for example, in my paintings, I might take the composition of one and the colors of another, but because the micro, the specifics of the painting is different, right? Because the specifics are different, it's still something new that I've never done before. So yeah, it's still creative. So if any of the variables are changing and that are unknown or new to you, whether it's you might be doing a formulaic thing, but if the result is something that you haven't done before, it's absolutely creative. Like, take drawing from a photo, right? It's not like, sure, there is a skill there that we are getting nitpicky because there's a creative variable to it all, right? It's not the whole thing doesn't have to be creative. right? I'm not saying all of farming is a creative endeavor, but there are absolutely creative aspects to it. Like, looking at the lay of the land and realizing that some parts are more in shadow, right? So maybe you don't want to plant the same crops that don't get as much light. That is creative, right? Not all of farming is creative, but not all of art is creative. Like, there are things that are very formulaic and you're literally just following a recipe. But if you're cooking something new, that's also creative. Anyway, that's my point. Is I'm not claiming that everything is creative. I'm claiming that there are aspects of just about everything that are creative. Because I just feel like it's such a stupid argument to say that some people aren't creative. I absolutely, and Sal, I'm not quite ready to vote. I'm a little slow today. Let me take a look at Zilly's art. Ooh, this is wonderful. Oh wait, I kind of feel like I see it. You've literally, okay. I see what you did here. So when you combine the two pieces, you kind of combine them like just up and vertically, right? Like you took the left side of one and the right side of another, or maybe not, but like you layered them on top and made half the painting one thing. Okay, let me show this. This is Zilly's painting. Yeah, side by side in a way. That's cool. See, this is not like when you said combine two paintings, my brain went, composition of one, colors of the other. You literally just like merged them. And that is cool. I like that. That's awesome. But see, to some people, this would be an easier idea than what I just said. But to me, this is way more creative because I didn't think of it, And it's like, anyway, I don't know why we're even talking about the creativity. It's such I don't know. I feel like it's such an I can't speak. Uninteresting topic. But no, this is beautiful, Zilly. Also, if you guys don't know Zilly, he does so much good stuff. I think this left side probably is a. I mean, they're both. This is Zilly's work, so of course it's representation of what he does. But yeah, no, his stuff is great. If you don't know him, he is fantastic. He's very painterly painter. Does lots of swooshy, spiral, fluid-looking landscapes, lots of clouds, organic forms that just Zilly smash, Hulk smash, yeah. Yeah, no, Zilly does a lot of great stuff. I feel like there's God, I hate the word energy, but there's a fluidity to his work, right? Because everything just kind of works together and the colors are nice, lots of little subtle gradients, lots of subtleties, and just, I don't know, nice stuff. I don't know how to describe it. Just cool stuff. Dude's great. Okay, I'm going to read this long wall of text, Adam. From my point of view, the argument is kind of misunderstood. Our minds are basically quantum computers that can be conditioned or molded as we grow. You certainly got some traits that set you on a certain life path, but it's up to you if you want to make that certain skill set grow or let others die. Creative person, for example, from my point of view, couldn't be a foot soldier since the personality and skills would clash with creative minds that are usually connected to being more free-spirited. See, I don't agree with that. I think you could have a creative person find creativity in a mundane job. It happens all the time. There's even a term for it, I think, called job crafting. You literally can take a job that has things that you don't like about it, maybe it's the monotony, and you can find ways to make it your own. That is extremely common. I mean, I literally do that at my job. Like, my job is about as mundane as you can possibly get, right? But there is still an element of creativity in it. And even if there isn't, it doesn't mean I'm not a creative person when my job isn't me, right? I'm not arguing that. Again, I do think every job can have creativity, but even if a job doesn't, right? Even if a task is completely uncreative, that doesn't mean that the person isn't capable of creativity, right? Jobs aren't people. right? Like there's still an element of like everyone can be creative. And a creative person, I don't think there is a, it's not like you have a marker at birth that says you're a creative person. You can grow to like creative stuff. You can start off hating it and then eventually love it. Or you can start off loving it and decide that maybe you're happier with other things because you find other things that are more interesting to you. Or like I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel like yeah. But I get what you're saying, though. I mean, I do think some people would not be happy in some jobs. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And it can be a creative decision to recognize that and move jobs. That is an element of creativity. Saying, I don't like this outcome, let me change my situation. You are literally problem solving. You're coming up with a solution to a problem that nobody even put. You not only did you identify the problem, you are solving it in one of many, many ways, right? You could job craft, you could leave the job, you could, you can ask for a promotion within your job that puts you in, constantly giving you new responsibilities. You can jump from boring job to boring job, and that jumping is giving you a new thing to learn each time, which can, be exciting and new and interesting. You can mold it into it if you decide to follow that pathway, but certain skills, occupations, and different factories may force you to let your creative side die off. Yeah, I mean, some professions, sure, probably try to destroy, human expression or whatever. Yeah, I'm not claiming that's not the case. But I mean, you can also use the situations you're in to fuel your creativity. I mean, isn't that what I know isn't that essentially what Kim Jong-il said with like his military experience? He literally used it as an opportunity to learn about things that he wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise, like planes and engines and things, military equipment, like and uniforms, and he used it as an opportunity to observe. Now, he wasn't a lifelong military person, but it doesn't mean that his military time was a negative. It was actually a positive, right? So I mean, yeah, I'm not claiming that people can be creative, that they want to be creative in every single situation, or that every situation is ideal for everyone. But that I'm just arguing against the idea that some people are creative and some people aren't. I don't want to get hung up on the job thing, because yes, I realize that the military is probably not as creative as, being a graphic designer, right? I get that one is probably more creative than the other. But the people specifically, I don't think are like fundamentally necessarily different. Anyway, blinking reminder. But yeah, anyway, that was a weird tangent maybe. Anyway, how are you, Duckteeks? Duckteeks? I don't know how you say your name. And Sakruna, hello. Hope you're doing well. I guess I just don't like the excuse that people will use for not doing stuff, like, oh, I wish I was creative. If I wish I was creative like you. I think that's BS. I've never considered, I mean, again, it doesn't really matter what I considered myself to be, but I did always like art, so I guess by that maybe I was always creative. But I've also always considered myself, I've been told by other people, you're too logical or something like that, or like you need to be an engineer when you're, it's like, engineers are creative. It's not like logic and structure and formulaic is not the opposite of creativity, right? I don't think that's how that works, right? Like science and math and following rules can be extremely creative, especially if you're deciding on why rules exist and how to create rules. And I mean, that's like, anyway, I don't know. I'm not, again, it's not really about jobs. Not really about jobs at all. This is more about people. Everyone can be creative. I'm putting my foot down. On my stream, everyone can be creative. Iguna Siu, how are you? Reminds me of the song in my mind where the person singing the song gets closer and closer to realizing that they already are who they want to be. Oh, and also rant. Yeah, thank you. Wait, oh no, is the bot not working? Let me fix this. Streamlabs dashboard. Why is the bot not working? No, wait, it's working there. Oh, you just did. Oh, okay, you just did one. I see. Luna Sternenmere. Wait, Sternenmere. How are you? I know Zilly really likes the soft shapes, but you know what? We're just gonna go all hard edges today. No softness. Just kidding. Maybe we get some greens and yellows. I don't know. I feel like I want some greens in here. And we will vote in a little bit. But first, let's put in some greens. Maybe some blue-green. Let's shift towards the blue-greens in here. Some blue-greens and yellows. I don't know if Zilly's still here, but yeah, he's a big fan of the softness. I remember back in the day, like a couple years ago or a year ago or something, he was like, dude, you gotta use more. When I first met Zilly, he was talking about how he thinks I should use more soft brushes and be more softer with my brush strokes and not use so many hard edges and hard shapes. And I maybe pushed back a little bit, but then I did try to do more of it, and I like it. I think it's super nice looking. But I will say I do like some hard edge shapes. You know, everyone's different. Or they can be. So yeah, I like these right here. We're just making a little path. This can go down. This could be like a cliff or something. Maybe it's in shadow. Does Joe have a favorite thumbnail? AKA, will there be a cat in one? Stay tuned. I don't think so. No, I'm not really too worried about which one. Let's put a little cat right here. Just kidding. No, I don't think I have. What program is it? This is oh, hey Luna Sternmere. This is Clip Studio. A cold case of creativity. Oh yeah, nice name. You're just talking about creativity. But yeah, this is Clip Studio Paint. And you know, okay, I'm gonna continue this rant because on the creativity because I want to give the other side of the argument some equal credit. I don't just think people who say I can't be creative are wrong. I also think people who are creative and say, oh, I'm creative and like this is who I am, as if they're like have something that other people don't. Like, no, I don't think you're special either, right? Like, I don't think creatives, like, I get that some people do feel like, oh, I have to create things. And yeah, I get it. There are people who love problem solving and feel like they are wasting their life if they're not doing a creative, in quotes, thing. I get that. But I also feel like doesn't necessarily mean you're any more creative. I think it just means you have a thirst for creativity, right? Like, some people just like it more, right? Some people are addicted to running. It doesn't mean you are destined to be a better runner than those who aren't, right? Liking something doesn't mean that you are more capable of it. I mean, it might in some philosophical sense, because you're more likely to do the thing, but that's not what I'm talking about. Anyway, what am I talking about? Art. That's what I'm talking about. We're doing some art. Art time. What is going on here? I feel like this little path here. How do I want to do this? Let's take an airbrush, paint in some light back here. I feel like this painting needs something. What if we do, you are creative and I am not, is usually an excuse not to try it because creativity is hard. Yeah, I mean, creativity is hard. I think almost by definition it's hard, right? You are essentially solving a problem that you haven't seen before, right? Like, if it's the same thing over and over, yeah, I guess you could argue it's not very creative. But you're essentially solving a problem that is a little bit new, right? It's like you have 5 variables and you're changing one of them, right? That's creative because it's something new. It's not totally new, not always. Sometimes it is. But most of the time, you're just changing something. You're tweaking something here. There's a new variable, whether it's a human problem and the problem is slightly different, right? I mean, this is like, yeah, I mean, I think everybody has these types of things, right? Not every time something goes wrong in your life, it's the exact same thing you've experienced before. Chances are it's a little bit different. Obviously, most people avoid things like that, but some people run towards them, and that's fine. But yeah, I think everybody's capable, and I kind of agree. I mean, yeah, creativity is hard. Creating things is hard. If I'm tired at the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is use my brain and do hard stuff. Like that's, yeah. Being a computer science major, I am amazed how much creativity goes into simple server maintenance on new projects. Creativity is basically problem solving without step-by-step. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's problem solving without step-by-step instructions because there's something that isn't like there's some unknown. Like that's the thing though. The new variable, right? The thing that makes the problem unique doesn't even have to be something new, right? So take the example of like combining a dog and a cat, right? To make a new creature, or a dog and a penguin, right? Neither a dog nor a penguin are new to you, right? There's nothing new about those. It's just the end result is a little bit new, right? So it's not like you're not even having to invent something, right? You're just doing, I mean, I get that some people would be like, okay, well, maybe I just, they aren't thinking as unique and they're not thinking of as many different solutions, but that's only one version of it. And that's the thing you can still practice and get better. But yeah, I completely agree. Duck takes. I don't know how to say her name. But yeah, it's problem solving without step-by-step instructions. I agree. And sometimes the creative element is identifying the problem. Sometimes it's coming up with the solutions. Sometimes it's deciding that this isn't actually a problem at all, right? Because that's a solution to a problem, right? Like, oh, let's wait, right? Let's wait and see what happens, right? I mean, there's an element of creativity there too. Yeah. I don't know why I'm talking about creativity today, but I do think that people treat it as some crazy thing. And I really don't think it is. Okay, let's add in an overlay. Take a yellow or a red and just start dropping in colors. I just want to try some stuff. It's funny how this red just makes everything look brownish, which I kind of like. I don't really use a lot of browns in my painting, typically. So I want this stuff to get really blue, because oftentimes things get blue as they get further away. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think computer science, any sort of programming, coding, it's language. I mean, language is creative, right? When you start a sentence, you don't know every single word you're going to use in that entire sentence, right? You know the idea, you know the direction, but you coming up with that language is creative. Everyone who speaks is creative. I think that's probably the easiest analogy. Because you're not just repeating the same thing, right? You have an idea and you arrive there through a unique string of letters, right? You might have, I mean, again, not everyone has tons of interesting things to say. Not saying I do. Well, yeah, there's only going to be 6 today. Yeah, just 6. But yeah, I think that's probably my favorite analogy of the day, is that if you speak, you are creative. Because it's exactly what I do with a painting. It's just painting is much slower, right? You maybe, actually not even always. Sometimes I start a sentence and I don't even know. Sometimes you don't even know what the point of what you're saying is when you start. And that's kind of how it is with art for me, or at least what I'm doing on stream, is I don't even always know what the goal is. And then I figure that out along the way, right? So it's a little bit like an improv in a way. I spoke with Skittle. He thinks it would be fun to try it for you two to finish each other's thumbnails, so he's down if you are. I think I'd be down. I'd be curious. I mean, yeah. I'd be curious. It would be fun. Yeah, I think that would be fun. But maybe not finish. So the problem that I have with this, with finishing, is it makes it sound like I need to do like I need to render this painting out. And I'm not sure I would want to do that, and I don't think Skittle would want to do that. But it might be fun to do like one stream of, refining a painting of someone else's. Like, I think there's a big difference. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I always am a sucker for nuance and I want to make sure I know what the constraints are. Like, I like to know the logistics of how things are actually going to work out, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and I like things to work out, and so I like to think through all the contingencies. Anyway, I like this painting. Do I like the blues? I kind of do. I feel like we need some darker blue in the foreground, though. But yeah, I think that would be fun. I'd be up for it someday. I don't know when. And that's another hard thing about streaming, is that some days I just wake up and I'm like, I want to do this, and I like to be able to do what I want to do. But yeah, I think that would be fun. Anyway, let's call that thumbnail finished. Maybe I'll add a... This is a thing I don't always do, but I'm going to add a little dark vignette around it. Maybe. Maybe the vignette will be with an overlay and like a dark blue. Nope, that's looking bad. Maybe a red. Nope, not that either. Nah, we're just gonna leave it. That'll work. Okay, yeah, 6 thumbnails. We were really slow today on the thumbnailing. So, we're gonna just leave it there. Sal, if you would like to drop a link, you're welcome to. If you have a link. I don't know if you... Thank you, Sal. There's that. You have Linky. Nice. All right. There is... Nope, let's go there. There are the thumbnails to vote on. Real quick, though, I'm going to select this Hit that, hit delete, clean it up a bit. There we go. There we go. We can vote now. And oh, and thank you for the pin, Sal. All right, so there's that. And yeah, we're voting. So if you're new to the stream, the way we do this, we vote on a thumbnail. Today there are only 6 options. You can vote for any number of them, and I will paint on the one that receives the most votes. So for example, maybe 6, maybe 2, maybe 1, 3, 4, or 5, whichever it gets the most votes. I will work on till the end of stream. Might do... Every painting's a little different. Some paintings kind of ask for, and talking about creativity, right? Some paintings just have a different problem. So like the second painting, I actually think the composition and sort of movement of it all is pretty nice, but I think the designs and shapes need some work. So that would be what I would focus on, right? So that painting's problems are shapes, right? Painting number 6, I like the colors, but the idea and the composition are kind of lacking. There isn't really a strong focus. So number 6, I would focus on that, right? And those are sort of problem solving each painting on a case-by-case basis. Okay, gonna close some of my tabs because I have like 13 million tabs open. It's a lot of tabs, I know. Closing that, closing that, closing this. Wait, what's that? Oh, I even had a rant topic today that I didn't rant on. Okay, so yeah, the poll is pinned at the top of chat. If you would like to vote, please do. So far, 12 people have voted, and I think we can get some more. We don't feel bad if you don't vote, though. Right now, 3 and 2 are winning. Ooh, people like 3 more than 2. Interesting. Poor 1 and 5. What happened there? Nobody likes 1 or 5, which is fine. Ooh, number 2 and 3 are tied now? Come on, number 2. I have to make it known which one I want. I like number 3 as well, but I think it's... Honestly, if I had to guess, I think at some point, number 2 and 3 will both be worked on. I'm pretty sure they will be worked on eventually because I think they're liked. Number 3's actually made an appearance a couple streams now, so we will probably work on it at some point as well. Okay, I'm going to save this out as a JPEG. Thank you for the follow. Pokey Soup, how are you? Number 2, motion and angles are awesome. Yeah, I like the fluidity of number 2. It has a good composition. It has nice colors. They match the... I feel like the colors and the composition kind of match. 3 has a nicer composition. Oh, I disagree. But that's fine. We can agree to disagree. I mean, maybe... I kind of like the angle of 3 a little better for what it is, for like tall buildings. I sort of like that, but I actually don't like the arrangement of the shapes. I think the perspective is cool in 3, but I'm not a fan of the actual shapes that exist. I do think that bright spot is cool, but 2 has a Winter Wonderland vibes. It does. It kind of have it. Yeah, a little bit Winter Wonderland vibes. Yeah. I mean, you can advocate for 1 in chat. Pokesoup, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Hope everyone is doing well. I guess I will also post the straw poll again. It is pinned to the top of chat, so that is a thing. Right now, number 2 and 3 are tied. This is going to be a close one. And while we do this, I'm going to save this as a new Clip Studio file because that is important. Clip Studio file 361 so that I can actually paint on it. I feel like 2 is a bit blunt. You think so? That's fair. See, I don't feel that. I do feel like maybe there's too much foreground right now in number two, and that the strong point of it, which is like the Disney-esque castle vibes, is not quite being in the focus enough. So I mean, it has its issues, right? And I think that's the thing about paintings, right? As you're working on them, there's until they're finished, and even then, they're always going to have things you can improve. And part of, to me, the creative part of painting is identifying those things and snuffing them out. No, it's not snuffing them out, but it's identifying the problems and solving them, right? You're saying, I don't like the composition. How do I fix it, right? And then I have this toolbox of methods to fix composition, right? Maybe it's not dynamic enough. Maybe it's doesn't, enhance the story you're trying to tell. Maybe the shapes are off or something. Like there's too much conflict in shapes, or maybe the focal point is in the wrong spots, right? So you can evaluate every single element of your painting, right? And to me, it's almost, and this is why I think it's funny, because I feel like the least creative person who does creative stuff, because I think of it as like tools, right? They're like, this tool is designed for this thing. Oh, I have a problem. Which tool fits the best, right? And it's like the only real creative thing is identifying the problem, and it's not the tools that I'm using. And I think some people, they think of like, oh, the end product is the creative thing. I don't think of that. I think of the end product as the result of me solving problems and identifying them. So it's almost like I feel like it's different, but it's not. I don't think it's any different because it looks the same. People call it the same. Anyway, Mike Hunger, how are you? Welcome, welcome. We are voting. We have just a few more minutes. How long was this one pinned for? Because I don't think we need the whole duration. Right now, number 2 and 3 are tied. If you would like to vote, please do. It should be pinned at the top. And yeah, we're still voting. Also, I'm going to eat a cookie real quick. I have some cookies next to me. I'm going to mute my mic while I munch on a cookie and drink some tea. But I will still be here reading. If somebody says something and I want to respond, I'll unmute. These are chocolate chip cookies. They're store-bought cookies, but they're pretty delicious. They were having a sale. They were like a buy one get one free big package of like a whole bunch of cookies, like 20 cookies. And so now I have like 40 cookies here, which is like more than one person should ever eat on their own. But it's a lot of cookies. I mean, and when I say store-bought, they came from our bakery. So they're like bakery store-bought cookies. They're not like Nabisco or anything. But they're basically the same quality. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, if you're just coming in, Andre, how are you? We are voting. Straw polls at the top. It's pinned. So far, we still have, it's tied. 2 and 3 are tied. Somebody should totally break the tie. Go vote for number 2 or 3. Number 2, please. Vote for number 2. And yeah. Hey Vana, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Can you guys hear me drinking? I feel like you can hear me gulping. Or something. I feel like maybe you can hear me gulping. I don't know. Maybe it's some weird drinking ASMR. I don't know. You hear nothing, Sal, but you have low volume. Okay, that makes sense. I just got back from work. Time for some food. Nice. What sort of food are you gonna eat? Okay, number 3 has won. We're gonna work on number 3 today. So, Kath, yours and Crunchy's, I believe it was your and Crunchy's ID, the thumbnail that you guys voted for has won. So, there we go. I'm just gonna make it larger, stretch it, twist it, bop it. I think it's called Tenderloin. Okay. No ASMR to me? No. I feel like people might say that and lie so that I don't change anything. Like people who like ASMR will be like, I don't hear anything, so that I don't change things, you know? Because like I don't really want people to be hearing me gulping. Okay, I need to go. Bless you all and have a lovely Saturday. Bye. See ya, Sal. So yeah, I feel like people might lie sometimes with advice on stream because they like something and they know the person doesn't. It's sort of like, does this shape look like a weird face to you? And if somebody says yes, you know I'm gonna get rid of it because I didn't want a weird face up there. Okay. Well, let's work on this. Do you? I do like 3 more, but I also think it would have been cool to see you transform 2. Well, I'll bring back 2 on my own tomorrow or on Monday. Okay, so I have some pictures here to share from my trip, and this is a good time to do it. I think. Let me close some of these because I want to use architecture references, and there is a lot of architecture. And I actually have a proper way to show it this time. I think. Okay, what I'm hearing is you don't trust my word. I don't think I said that. I don't think that's what I said. Okay, so here are some photos that I took or that we took. I don't think there's any people in here. So some are from aquariums, and I'm not going to use these as references because the painting today is obviously not. It doesn't fit. But here are some of the things that we took. I'm just going to go. Whoop! That was not. Didn't mean to do that. So there's just a lot of like architecture. Cool. I mean, this was one that I showed some of these last stream. But things like this, these buildings, I really like the roof of this. I thought that was neat. That was like a church. Oh, here's another one of the same thing. Some statues. Let me see how to do this. So a lot of these things were things I took on vacation. Okay, a lot of these I actually showed last stream. Okay, pretty much all of these I showed last stream. But yeah, stuff like this I feel like is really cool. Okay, those were bad examples of things because there's so much more. But anyway, that's fine. But yeah, I really like all this architecture. I just think it's super cool, and there's so much good stuff, and I'm excited for it. Also, this is the thing. So these are the banners. These are fake banners. I don't think I showed this last stream, but they were filming a movie at this castle place, and these were banners on the side of the wall. And I guess they said that they were fake and they were meaningless because they were just for the movie or for the show or whatever they were filming. Does anyone know what these are? Or what they're from? It might be from a TV show. It might be, I don't know. It could be anything. Could be like a Bridgerton type show. I don't think that's where that show was filmed, but you never know. I think it's probably that thing Cass said, but I am curious what it was. Oh yeah, look at this sleepy koala. This was so cute. We went to the zoo, and this was one of the koalas. It may not even be out yet. It might be a new show for all I know. We went to the zoo, and there were some sleepy koalas. It was really cute. Some giraffes. Anyway, this is totally not relevant. I'll go on a Google spree. Yeah, feel free to like screenshot this and figure out what it is. I don't know. It may not be for an existing show. It might be a totally new thing. But they did say that these banners, and Rona pointed out something good, that they might change these later. Like sometimes they'll have these things and then later they'll decide that they want to redesign the logos and they'll, put them in post or whatever, or edit them in post. So it's possible that these logos will not be the thing that's on the show. But it might be. Who knows? We don't even know what the show is. Right, here's some more movie set stuff. They had things sectioned off and lights and interesting things. Anyway, I don't know why none of this is relevant to what I was showing, but some of it is. I guess there are some, like, okay, so let me go back. This is actually a really cool image, right? I love the architecture, the round stuff, the intricacies. I think that's really neat. And I feel like there is some of that here already. Right, like there's already some... Also, I gotta move my references so I can see stuff properly. There we go. So like these shapes, for example, I think are quite good in terms of like how I could incorporate the reference. Right, you can have these bulbous shapes, and these go upward. I like this. I want to reserve this. And I like this focal point thing. I might actually make it larger. I don't know, let's mess around with this for a bit. What if I make this larger? So I'm trying to basically fix compositional things. I don't really have a good focal point in this image, and I'm kind of wanting to make this the focal point. So what if I just take this and scale it up? Maybe move that down. And I don't know if this is a good idea or not. It might be a terrible idea. There should be things above here. I feel like some of these should have, right, we should be seeing above this. So some of these are going to have edges down below. They might even have different things. Or maybe I don't want this to be such a focal point. Maybe this scene is more about the city skyline, and maybe I want to downplay this thing. I might have just made it worse. See, these are the types of decisions in the See, to me, this is the creative part of painting, right? Or at least of my process, is I'm taking this idea and saying, is this better? It's like the eye vision test. Is number 1 better or is number 2 better, right? Number 1 or number 2. And then you just pick one and you're like, oh, I like that one better, right? It's like personal taste. That's cooler, right? And sometimes it's a very rational thing, like, oh, I like number 1 better because it's a stronger focal point, right? And this painting's lacking a focal point. Or, oh, I like number 2 better because, actually, I think I do like number 2 better. I like this one better. Okay, so we're actually backpedaling. But sometimes your choice is wrong, right? Sometimes it's so close that you just have to pick. And it's kind of which direction do you want to go down. It's like both streets look interesting, and you're going to be happy with either, but you just have to pick one. And depending on which one you pick, you're going to end up doing something different, but it's still interesting. Anyway. So yeah. So here's some architecture. I am going to use some of... So I think what I want to do... Oh, okay, I remember what I said I was going to do. I think maybe could the foreground come down a bit? Let's try. And by foreground come down, I just mean basically flatten it out so that I can get away with exaggerating some of these things. So like this can come upward a little bit. And this can come down. So like I'm making some of these things just a little bit taller. I don't know, maybe that's worse. Maybe somewhere in between? I don't know. Let's see. Let's do this. And just move that down. Yeah, maybe that works. I think that's better. Honorable Lurker, how are you? I realize with a name like Honorable Lurker, you're probably just going to be lurking and not chatting. But I hope you're doing well. And thank you for coming into the stream. I found it. So the colors and the lion are heraldic features of the House of Habsburg, a famous European dynasty, and they are filming an HBO show called The Palace with Kate Winslet at Schönbrunn. Oh, really? Okay, hold on. The Palace. So is the show out? Is it like a second season? Okay, The Palace, Kate Winslet. Images. Okay, that's just Kate Winslet. I want to see the... Well, interesting. Nice research. Hold on, I'm gonna pin this, or not pin it. I'm gonna put this. Where am I gonna put it? I'm gonna put this in Discord. Okay, let me. Sorry, guys. 1 second. This is just something that I was curious about, which is why I took photos of it when I was on vacation. It's a mini series. Okay. I'm going to put this that thing in not my Discord. I'm going to put it in probably Rona's Discord in my little channel. There we go. Okay, there we go. Back to arting. So let's keep evaluating this painting and fixing it. Compositionally, maybe this shouldn't be totally going all the way up. I don't know. It's very large. I feel like this is almost too large of a thing. Like what is it that's so big back here? I don't know. But yeah, thank you, Kath, for doing the research. That's fun. I knew it looked like a big production because they were. I feel like if you're gonna take a tourist destination, like a literal castle, and wall parts of it off and say, sorry, you can't go here, and then you have hundreds of ground crew prepping this thing, like that, it must take a lot to be able to, like, to block off this tourist thing that is getting you money. So you're stopping the money income by walling this place off, and then you have your own huge crew. Like, they must dump so much money into, like, even just having the set as a place to film. It's kind of crazy. I'm always curious what kind of deals are made to allow people to film plays. Like, I'm sure money is the big one. You know, they just dump money at the problem. But I wonder if sometimes there's other things like PR and you know, name dropping the, you know, like if it's a tourist destination, by saying, oh, this is, you know, by saying the place and the location so that there's, like, you know, good PR around it, and like, oh, okay. Because I was actually listening to a podcast recently about basically deals and marketing in movies, and how, like, China will oftentimes want, you know, they'll try and make deals with the US to, like, get locations, you know, a Chinese city skyline and, like, Spider-Man, or they'll have prominent Chinese actors. They'll pay lots of money or something, or they'll say, if this movie is going to be shown in, if we're going to have your movie in our country, which is going to make you a lot of money, if you want that money, you're going to do what we ask, right? And they basically are making deals with these, like, weird strings attached because they want, you know, people in prominent roles, right? That they want, like, a lead scientist to be a Chinese actor who is, like, you know, to promote the sciences, or they want, you know, to, I think there was some movie where they were talking about the future, and in this podcast, the guy was mentioning, like, initially they were going to be like, oh, the future, you know, future civilization is, like, Paris is the big city, right? And they were like, but then I think they ended up making a deal that actually it's going to be China, because they were offering a, you know, more money basically to say that the future of humanity resides in China, and that was, like, a big thing the Chinese, I don't know what you call it, propaganda, maybe propaganda, but it's, like, a big thing, and I think it's a fascinating market. Like, I think it's just fascinating that movies and studios will make business deals with other places. So, like, when I see a big movie being shot in, like, this castle in Vienna, it's like, maybe there's, like, you know, maybe it's money, but maybe there's also other things, like, you know, we won't show your movie in our country unless you do these things, because, and it's like, oh, well, that's a lot of money. So, I don't know. I'm always curious about that side of things, and I think it's really fascinating. And yeah, I'm just always curious. Like, what does it take to shoot films or movies or shows in some locations? It's probably just a lot of money, but still, it's fascinating. Anyway, back to art. Hopefully, I didn't say anything too controversial there. But anyway, it was yeah. Okay, arting. Let's make some of these people look like people. Okay, let me find, okay, I realize I'm going very slow. I'm gonna crowd of actually, I think I have some crowds of people here. I do. Look, I literally have this. Crowds of people walking. That is exactly what I want in this painting. I already have the references, and I took them myself, so this is, like, perfect. I mean, I'm not going to use the exact same silhouettes or anything, but it can help you draw things and just learn a little bit from the shapes of a little bit of how people look and how they walk, and maybe there's, you know, bags or things they're carrying that you didn't think about putting in initially. Maybe there's legs going up from the You know, because they're walking. That looks funny. I don't like that. So yeah, I am gonna try and make some of these people look like they are. Like they're actually people. Because I think that would be interesting to make them look not terrible. I'm going to do a bit of flipping though, because I don't want all of them to look perfectly like people, because I do want to group. I want clusters, right? I'm going to have like a cluster back here. This person will probably be a person, maybe some clusters back there. So I do want to cluster them so that they're not... Yeah, so it's not too, I don't know. Like, the silhouettes don't need to be perfect. Hey, Rona, how are you? Hello, hello. You found the Schönbrunn show? Yes, yeah, that was Kath. Kath found the Schönbrunn show. I'm still saying it wrong. Yep, apparently it's a mini-series with Kate Winslet. Apparently. I haven't looked into it, but I'm gonna trust Kath. I thought it was interesting. I don't know why, but stuff like that's just interesting. Buttspot has spoken. Who got butt spotted? Somebody got butt spotted. Is it too late to bake cookies tonight? I mean, is it ever too late to bake cookies? I don't know. No? I say go for it, Kath. Bake away. I mean, I don't know why you need my or anyone else's permission to bake cookies. I feel like you're just looking for validation on your decision to already bake cookies. I feel like you've already decided. If you're asking that question, you've already decided that you're going to bake cookies. You're just looking for validation. So go bake cookies. I have to tell my mom. Oh, that Hugh Grant. Does she like Hugh Grant? She likes him or used to? I'll admit, I kind of like Hugh Grant. Is that... No, that's not weird. I think Hugh Grant's totally a likable character. I mean, I'm not talking about him as a person. I'm talking about him as an actor and the stuff he's in. Because I don't know anything about him as a person. And I'm always hesitant to say, oh, I love this actor, and then turns out they're like a total scumbag in real life. It's like, no, I don't like saying that. But no, I like Hugh Grant, I think. I think he's fun. I mean, I also really like rom-coms, so... So yeah, then maybe that's why, because he's in just a bunch of rom-coms. I love the disclaimer and I get it. Yeah, I mean, I do this with art a lot, right? Because there are a lot of terrible people in the world, and if I'm talking about like somebody who's good at composition, and I'm like, oh, they're so good, like I kind of don't care if they're bad at... I mean, look, I don't like to support people who are terrible, but at the same time, when it's in service of learning, I think it's fine to learn from terrible people. I just think you can try to minimize the amount of money you give them, because I feel like it also depends on on how terrible and if their terribleness has contributed to their success, right? Like I think in movies, especially when people are like exploiting others, like that's messed up. I don't really want to support them by watching their stuff when they literally are only in a position of power because they're like that. That to me is where there's like the blurred line. Anyway, actors can have charming roles and still be butts in real life. Exactly. He almost thought he got butt spotted. Rona butt spotted herself. Kathy, you were looking for validation. Got it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah, you go for the cookies. Wait, so what kind of cookies are you baking? You said chocolate chip? To be honest, I was wondering if the bot would pick up on that. Can the bot butt spot somebody who typed butt? Like, I wonder if it has like a rule where it can't replace the same word with the... You know? I wonder how that works. Probably thinking too much into it, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to try and... So I think it's Andreas Roca. Actually, I don't think I know. It is him who did. I was talking about this before, but sometimes he'll do these things where like he will, if he's making like shapes off in the distance, instead of making the perfect silhouette, he'll actually leave gaps. So he might do something like this, where he has like these little shapes up here, where it's like they're disconnected silhouettes because he's trying to show how skinny it is. And so if there's a bit of light there, it might actually cut, like you're not going to see the full shadow or the full silhouette. And I really like that. I think it's a fun way to just make interesting shapes. You're taking a bigger shape and you're simplifying it. So that's a thing that I'm kind of trying to do a little bit. Butt spotted. I'm still deciding between chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin. Ooh. What about oatmeal chocolate chip? Is that a thing? I feel like that's a thing. I mean, I am a fan. I like oatmeal cookies. Oatmeal raisin is good. But I actually have chocolate chip cookies here, and I just ate some even during stream. So I'm definitely going to go with chocolate chip because I like my chocolate chip cookies. And it's funny, when I was visiting Rona and we were talking about stuff, I mentioned like I don't typically have snacks, and then like literally in 2 days of returning, I buy 2 giant packs of cookies to snack on. So I am a hypocrite. I literally said, "Oh, I don't really buy snacks," and it's like, okay, here I am, literally eating 2 boxes of cookies. So I just have like cookies for days. So yeah. Maybe there was, I don't know what that was, but yeah, something. So now yeah. Which is nice. It's always fun to have snack food, I will say. Okay, so I am trying to make this tower interesting and like go in front of here. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Maybe I... could go like this. This is going to be a weird shape, but maybe it'll work. The cookies diet is Greta. It's great. Oh, the cookie diet? Yeah, cookie diet, sure. I don't know if I would call it a cookie diet, but it's something like that, I guess. Something like that. But yeah, Rona, how are you today? Hope you're well. Yeah, Joe was making it sound like having one candy is enough, and they are all the same. Okay, I did not. I wasn't quite going that extreme. Wasn't that extreme. But I get your point. Like... Waffles? No, we have one chocolate at home. Oh my god. I did... Rona. I feel like I'm being... That's literally what happened. I feel like maybe that's not perfectly... I mean, okay, pretty close. Don't you dad shun me. Is that what I just did? Dad shunned? Is that... I like it. Jesus. I feel like that might not be the full story. Anyway. But that's okay. Ooh, I see. Yeah, you said it multiple times. Okay. The different things. I mean, I did say things similarly, like, I mean, and I did mention that I think it's just my buying habits tend to be different. Like, I don't typically plan super far in the future for like eating things. So it's like if I already have a snack at home, I don't differentiate a lot between different types of snacks. Like I understand they are different, but it's like, oh, if I want a snack, I just have something to snack on. Yeah. But I mean, even now it's like, okay, I have cookies. That's it, right? I don't have like a lot of variety. But I mean, again, I don't think one is better. Like there's not like a right or wrong way to eat snacks or to buy snacks. I just have my habits and things that I do. I don't know. I mean, I also tend to eat stuff really fast if I have it at home, and so I end up just spending. I feel like I just spend more money because I have, like, I don't necessarily feel like I get more satisfaction from eating, like, from having a lot of snacks because I just eat them faster. I feel better now. Tell that to your judgment side comments. Judgmental side comments. Wait, what? Oh yeah, yeah. Use it as yeah. You can feel better. I hope I didn't make you feel not okay about it. I definitely wasn't trying to shame anyone into not buying snacks. Definitely not doing that. We're not trying to. Okay, I feel like this tower should be... What if we do like this kind of thing where we have a little bit of the side here. Ooh, okay, that's good. Some days you just want a waffle. Yeah, totally. Or a cookie. Yeah. That's fair. That is fair. For a sweet, you know. No, I agree. And they all different. It's true. They are all indeed different. See, I guess I don't really get like... I don't know. I guess I don't really... I mean, we mentioned this last stream, I think. I don't typically... I really don't differentiate a ton between different snacks. To me, I mean, yes, some snacks aren't sweet, for example, but like sweet snacks to me are... They kind of oftentimes do fill that like sweet urge. But I get that some people are more nuanced. I don't have a very nuanced view on snacks. I mean, they're not all the same, but they're like a solution to a similar problem. That's how I think of it. And I realize that my view isn't necessarily correct on this, but it's like art, right? It's like you have a composition issue. You say, oh, my composition is off. And then there's lots of different solutions to fix it. Some you might like better than others, but if they all fix it... Well, that's a terrible example. I'm literally proving your point, not mine. But sometimes it's just like, there's a solution and it works, right? If the problem can be solved, then it's solved, and I don't fuss over it. I still felt bad, though. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't mean to make you feel bad. Definitely never my intention. Ooh, I like this negative shape up here. Okay, so I feel like what I need down here, because this is like store level stuff, or like, you know, you have markets or things, I feel like I want to put a shape. Like, I don't know if how to do this. I feel like I want a shape in the middle like this. And it doesn't have to be right here. And that definitely doesn't have to be this color. This might be terrible. A shape. Well, I want a shape like... I don't know if I can explain it. Also, am I on the wrong layer? No, I'm not. Put a triangle there. Well, kind of a triangle. So what I'm thinking is like imagine these buildings have like overhangs and I don't know. I love the circle window. Is it a port? No, it's just like a stained glass window probably. I don't know. I didn't really think of it as a portal. This actually might be worse. Okay, I just ruined my painting. A portal to God. But I do feel like there's an element here of... You could add mist? Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. Maybe there's a little, like, an overhang area. And these are just more... I mean, I wasn't really thinking of mist, but yeah, maybe. I was kind of thinking of, like, foreground... I don't know, like, imagine you're walking through, like, a market or something, right? And there's, like, these areas on the side, and then you have some in here, and then maybe some up here. And of course, these things are gonna have cast shadows of some sort. Something like that. Although I'm not really sure how I like this stuff. I mean, there's some... I guess maybe this is where I can just play with the shapes a little bit and try to figure out how I want it to look. Maybe this is dark. So what I'm trying to do is make it look like we're seeing the top of... Whoa, did I just crash? No. Okay. Still here. That's good. So yeah, I do want to make it look like we can see the tops of these things. Oops, not like that. So like a dark edge, and then the light edge, and then the dark edge. And then underneath, again, dark edge, light edge, dark edge. Kind of just this little repetitious thing. Maybe there's some darker purple under here. I don't actually even know if I like the solution. I'm still kind of just toying with it. Maybe there's some light under here. I'm also not sure. Maybe I want like smaller maybe like a building like here. That could be a good one. So something in front is basically what I'm getting at. Yeah, maybe something like this. But I don't know about that. I mean, now I don't like the characters in here. I feel like maybe we need just a large compositional thing, like blocking off in the foreground. No? No? Okay. You don't like that? Well, let me play with this for a moment. I'll do it on a new layer. I'm still not convinced that's not wrong. Let me see. You mean partially? Well, I mean the characters can stay there. I'm just trying to put something like the I just wanted this thing in the foreground so that there's, I mean, obviously I can add details back here. Like I can, you know, paint this thing, right? Maybe there's a building here. But this building would be, let's see if I can do this. It's hard to quickly block in stuff because I don't know. Is that right? Maybe not like that. Basically just putting a building there. I don't know. I'm not really sure how it works because the architecture is kind of funky looking. And also putting a short building in the foreground might be weird. Maybe. But I do feel like some of this doesn't need to be super bright in the corners. So it could be in the shadow a little bit. Just like under here could be in shadow. And then you could get these buildings. I don't know. Something like that could be fun. I don't know. See, I'm not even sure this is right. Like, maybe I want none of that there. But I do feel like something in the foreground would be fitting. I'm just not sure how to approach it. Maybe I'll try an airbrush. Because I do feel like there's an issue with this painting, and I am trying to come up with a solution to it. And I have some ideas. But like this building, I kind of like. Maybe that's too boring. I wonder, what if we had these shapes, this triangle shape, except from the other side? No, because we have this building, so that makes sense it's on this side. So we have that big triangle shape here, and then on this side we don't have it. so we kind of have like a compositional thing where our eyes go here and then make their way up there. Something like that. I think that would actually work. So let me try to... Cookies are in the oven. Nice. Okay, I think this is going to work. I think I've found my solution. And then I can take like a light and put some light under here. It could be little bits of sunlight or something poking through. Maybe they're little, I don't know. Little things. Maybe there's some things poking through here. And so we can still have the characters in here. Maybe this one has a little bit of light behind them, showing off the silhouette a little bit. I feel like that's not too bad. Cookies are in the oven. Nice. How long? I don't have an oven. How long do cookies take to bake? How long do they take? Also, is anyone else doing any art and would like to share? I know Steph was doing some art. You're not required to share though, but if anyone is doing art and would like to share, please do. Okay, from keeping this in with like the Vienna themed stuff, I feel like we need some statues. Because I'm a big fan of the architecture I saw in Vienna, and there was a lot of really cool statues. And I feel like something like this little foreground object could totally be a statue. 15 to 20 minutes. These ones, 12 minutes. Okay. Okay, I'm actually just gonna steal this this statue here. The exact statue with the person holding the wand, not the wand, the thing, and they're on a pedestal. The person on a pedestal with other people around them. Statues here. Maybe that's too complicated of a shape for this. Not a wand, they had like a staff. There. Very Viennese right there. The statue idea is awesome. Yeah, I wanted it a little shorter. And it's also like a secondary focal point. So like maybe this is some market square and there's, you know, there's some fancy buildings around here. And we have these little things in the background. Yeah, I like that stuff. I think the statue is good. I mean, we don't even have to have a super defined shape for the statue. I mean, I think I do think this is kind of going to be a focal point, so I should probably define the shape a little better. You know, like maybe make a hand. I could do this with a lasso tool, I guess. And sometimes it's not even the... Like, I don't know what this shape is, and like, because this isn't in the you know, in the photo I have. Maybe this person's arm is coming out here. I don't know. Maybe they're wearing a crown of some sort. I don't know, maybe Statue of Liberty looking thing. This probably is not going to look great, but let's try it. I don't think I want such a symmetrical pose. Joe, how do you feel about keeping going? I remember you said a little bit spread thin last few times you streamed long. Oh, do you think I should keep going? Oh, is that what you're saying? I don't know. I'm kind of liking the detailing part in this a little bit, but Rona, is this a? Wait, how long do you plan on staying up? Is this a call for me to end stream so that we don't miss each other when you go to bed early? But I don't know. I'm kind of. I mean, I don't know if chat is keeping up well, or I don't know if I'm keeping up with chat, or if there's viewers still here. But no, I do think this is actually kind of interesting. I think there's something here with like messing around with shapes. It's something that I don't do very often. Sort of figuring out where do I want intricacies, where do I not want them. But yeah, you're right. I normally am not super happy with how stream goes if I stream too long. The statue could have the orange rim light from the circular window. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it doesn't have to be from the window, because I don't think this would be... if this is more like a stained glass window, it's not going to cast a light across here. Like, I don't think you'd get the actual light. But I do think you could still have some orange light coming in, you know, in parts. But I think some of that stuff might even be just a little later in the process, because I don't think we're quite there yet. I don't like these pokies. See, I feel like this is something where I could just design these shapes forever and decide on what I want to do with it. Like, what's this shape? Maybe there's like a crescent, you know, these shapes. I don't... What is this? Does this shape represent anything? I feel like this is a shape that represents something, but I don't know what it is. I don't think I want it in here. It's a little bit too on the nose, I feel like. So anyway, there's like a statue. Maybe there's some other statues in other places, like here. Maybe some of these have intricacies. Again, I feel like the statues stuff is just more for intricacies. Poseidon, is that what that is? I don't know what that symbol is. Yeah, I have no idea. It's not on the statue that I'm looking at, but I'm just drawing shapes. But yeah, Rona, I think you are right. I should probably try to end stream sooner than later. I do tend to lose my wits. No, that's not the good way of saying it. I do feel like my brain starts getting tired and I stop responding properly to people, and things just slow down and become not as good as you stream. And I think that's just true in art in general, not just in streaming, but it's good to take breaks. It's good to sort of reset, get fresh eyes, and who knows, maybe I could continue painting later today. I do want to keep working on this, though, because this is a fun painting. And I feel like this is a good painting. I almost want to practice photo bashing with this painting. I feel like for some textures and stuff, because it's kind of a dark painting, so I feel like some random textures in the foreground. I don't know, it might be a fun practice thing. Very concept arty. I'm kind of designing the city, you know, I'm obviously using a lot of inspiration from my recent trip. But I feel like it works. And some of these can have some light on them. Some of this, some light. Basically what I'm trying to do is just make, actually that shape I ruined. I'm just trying to make some of these shapes have the right amount of intricacies. I don't want, I mean, you know, not super Disney Castle, but kinda. I wonder if I can put something over here like that. That sort of implies that there's even more massive buildings in the background. Oh, this angle is way off. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end here. I think this is a good. Also, maybe there's a statue. Actually, before I do end, maybe there's a statue here as well. That's entirely in shadow, so it's like it's not, even though it's on the rim of the painting. And there's a saying in chess: "Knights on the rim are dim," and that's kind of true for focal points on the rim are dim, right? Like you don't really want to draw attention, or maybe you should say focal points on the rim should be dim, because if they're too prominent, right? If you put all this contrast here, suddenly that's drawing too much attention. But I think it's okay to put stuff over here as long as you keep it fairly mild, right? It's like a secondary detail that you only see when you're really, really looking for it. Throw some cherubs in there and it's an accurate Vienna painting? Pretty much. I feel, okay, this is, people are probably going to get tired of me saying this, but I have a hunch I'm going to be referencing Vienna for a very long time to come. Just from the stuff that I saw, and I should have taken more photos. Maybe I'll just have to, excuse to go back. More references. Although I do think it's good to have a place in, I mean, I think, I mean, I've always thought this with like a lot of just like random European architecture or whatever, like maybe you're doing a cottage. But I mean, I think it makes sense to have like a style, a cohesive thing. And this is where referencing comes in a lot. But obviously, it's a lot easier when you're immersed in something and like everything that's on your mind has a similar visual style, or at least it fits together from like a time period or a culture. Whereas I think oftentimes when I've referenced stuff in the past, it's I don't do a good job of referencing. In fact, I do a very poor job of referencing because the images are just like, this looks cool. I've noticed that Ivana says, I noticed that taking breaks is so important. I started painting a rose today. I felt kinda meh, but had to stop as I had to get to work. Later at work, I checked the painting and I realized how it turned out so far. Wait, and I really liked how it turned out so far. It made me realize how blind you can get. Interesting. I mean, I agree, But it's really, that example is really fascinating because I like 90% of the time I feel the exact opposite, which is I really like the painting and then I take a look at it later, I'm like, holy crap, what was I thinking? Right? Because I get blind to the mistakes, not to the good parts of it, right? So normally I feel like I'm opposite. Also, I feel like this could be. Oops, that's not right. Okay, we have an issue here. I think it's this. See, this is probably something I should not do right now as I do it. Something like that. I do think this stuff should be a little taller. There, maybe like that. That could be in shadow. Maybe there's some purple back here. I feel like we could even get some lights back here. Something like some lights. But I don't want a lot back here. These lights need to be dimmer than these lights because these lights are more in the middle of the painting, so they're actually drawing our eye in. And then of course I could even bring some light back here if I wanted to really focus in on this. I mean, of course we could even get some room light as pointed out. Oh, this is a tangent. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Hold that little pillar here. Or spire. Either way, taking break is good for you. Yeah, it is. Taking break is good. That's true. Even if your experience isn't the same as mine, or mine's not the same as yours, it's still, yeah. Breaks are almost always good. Okay. All right, here's where I'm ending. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun today. I feel like this painting turned out really good, and I'm glad we worked on it. I'm sure I will do more along this line, but I actually want to work more on this painting. So I'll probably work on this painting tomorrow. I'm gonna be in Discord like 3 hours before the normal stream time. So at 8 my time. 8 to probably like 11, I'll be doing some art in Discord. The first hour, I'm going to watch some videos, just do, random YouTube videos on art educational stuff. And then after that, maybe not immediately after, probably immediately after, but then after that, I'm going to do paint for a couple hours, probably an hour or two. And I'll probably work on this piece more. It's not like, a live stream where I'm talking about stuff. It's just going to be us, a bunch of people hanging out in chat. Doing art together, not necessarily, I may not even stream what I'm doing, but we'll just be in voice chat or just typing. And yeah, anyone's welcome to join. So we do have a Discord. I'm going to do that tomorrow, but then I will be back live on Monday with a new painting. I'm probably not going to work on this one. I guess I could if there's any demand for it, but I doubt. I don't know. I feel like seeing the early process is far more interesting. That's my personal take. I like seeing this kind of thing where, you're coming up with ideas and exploring ideas. So yeah. I learned a lot from you. Thank you for streaming. No. Well, I'm okay, interesting. I'm glad you learned something from me. I wasn't really trying to educate, but I guess that's always a good thing if there's something to learn. But yeah, if you ever have any questions, definitely feel free to ask. I like explaining stuff, but I never know what people want to hear, so I sometimes just ramble about other stuff. But yeah, thanks all for being here. We're gonna find somebody to raid. Does anyone have any suggestions or recommendations or something? I think we haven't raided. Sourpuss is still on. What? Did she forget to turn off her stream? What's going on? Okay, we're gonna raid her really quick. We never get to raid Sour. She's been live for 5 hours. I'm just gonna hit the raid button. We're gonna go over there, say hi to Sour. We have a raid call. I think I've already said all the closing stuff that I need to say. So yeah, thanks for being here. Take care, and hopefully we can catch her before she ends stream, but maybe not because she's been live for a ridiculously long time. So, yeah, I can't remember the last time we raided her. Anyway, let's go over there. Take care, everyone. Have a happy rest of your weekend, and hope to see you on Monday. Yep. Good time zone, all. Happy time zone. See ya.